7%. Chapter 41 Stronghold Treasure Box. A priceless piece of equipment. Compared to the gains, offending the Goblin clan is nothing at all. Even if the Goblin tribe is not destroyed, these professionals who have descended on the floating island are hostile to the local forces, including the Goblin clan. Therefore, Lin Yu is not at all intimidated by hostility. He is now completely immersed in great joy. 1 blueprint for the fence and 1 blueprint for the warehouse. 3 blueprints for the arrow tower, and an astonishing 5 blueprints for the wooden house. In addition, I also obtained a silver-level stronghold treasure chest. I've really hit the jackpot. At this moment, the smile on Lin Yu's face cannot be suppressed. I finally got the blueprint for the fence. Now I can build the fence and upgrade my territory to a middle-level village, unlocking the ability to summon the 4-winged angel. If there are rewards for the first territory upgrade, they will be mine. The blueprint for the warehouse is also a good thing. I already have a warehouse building, but I can easily sell it. Lin Yu said with a smile, those top experts and alliance leaders, aren't they all rushing to upgrade their territories and receive rewards from the floating island? However, the trading platform only has blueprints for fences and arrow towers. There are no warehouse blueprints with lower drop rates for sale. If I put this warehouse blueprint on the trading platform, I can probably sell it for an astonishing price, higher than the value of snake scales. In addition, I also got the wooden house blueprints. I just don't know how many wooden houses I can build with 5 blueprints. Some blueprints can be used multiple times. For example, the arrow tower blueprint. 1 arrow tower blueprint can be used 3 times to build 3 arrow towers. Lin Yu believes that the basic blueprint for the wooden house can also be reused, and the number of uses may be even more than the arrow tower blueprint. Lastly, and most importantly, the silver-level stronghold treasure chest. This is the first time Lin Yu has heard of a stronghold treasure chest. Even on the Blue Stars professional forum, no one has ever leaked information about the stronghold treasure chest. Could it be? The stronghold treasure chest is also a new thing on the floating island. It's not impossible. After all, the world announcement is a new feature unlocked by the floating island, right? A year ago, the first batch of veteran professionals who descended on other floating islands never enjoyed the treatment of the world announcement. There were no world announcements for the first occupation of a local force stronghold, the first territory upgrade, or anything else. At most, there were just default rewards of glory points and reputation points. So it is highly likely that the stronghold treasure chest is also an item introduced by the floating island. I just don't know what's inside the stronghold treasure chest. Lin Yu is full of anticipation for opening the treasure chest. But he can't open it now. Because whether it's blueprints or treasure chests, they all dropped when the Goblin tribe was destroyed. They are still in the Goblin tribe and need to be brought back by Ida and the others. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yu communicates with Myriad World's floating island. He asks for information about the stronghold treasure chest. Soon, he receives a reply from Myriad World's floating island. Stronghold treasure chest, rare items, can only be obtained when destroying a local force stronghold. The levels of stronghold treasure chests range from bronze, silver, gold, diamond, crystal, god level, to super god level. The stronger the destroyed stronghold force, the higher the level of the treasure chest obtained. The items in the chest appear randomly, including but not limited to gold coins, basic resources, blueprints, equipment, crop seeds, and so on. The higher the level of the chest, the higher the value of the randomly appearing items. The highest level, super god level stronghold treasure chest. I wonder how powerful a local force needs to be destroyed to obtain this level of chest. Could it be a local kingdom? In addition, there are actually bronze-level stronghold treasure chests. In other words, the Goblin tribe is not the weakest among all the local forces. There are local forces weaker than the Goblin tribe. Otherwise, I would have received a bronze treasure chest instead of a silver one. Without thinking any further, the task at hand for Lin Yu now was to wait for the Angel Squad to bring back the spoils of war to their territory. At that time, they could proceed with upgrading the territory, putting up warehouse blueprints, or opening stronghold treasure chests one by one. Just at this moment, the Myriad World's floating island sent another message notification. The message content was simple, informing Lin Yu that the equipment he had listed, the ghoul leather armor, had been successfully auctioned off, with a final transaction price of 1,140 gold coins. Not bad. The price is twice that of other level 5 supreme grade equipment. It's beyond my expectations. Lin Yu's intuition did not fail him. This ghoul leather armor did indeed give him a pleasant surprise. In addition, the sword of the skeleton that was listed at the same time was also sold. The final transaction price was 270 gold coins. It was much cheaper compared to the ghoul leather armor. Overall, it was one level lower and just an ordinary piece of equipment without any special effects. On the other hand, although the ghoul leather armor was only a mere level 5 equipment, its special effect, disguise, was a god-level skill at this stage. If used well, it could potentially skyrocket one's progress. That's why there were people willing to pay such a high price to acquire it. At the same time, the chat channel on the island became more lively. Many professionals were discussing the recently auctioned ghoul leather armor by Lin Yu. Some felt that the price was slightly high but worth it. Others thought that bidding such a high price for a level 5 equipment was simply insane. A level 5 equipment sold for over 1,000 gold coins. Lin Yu is making a fortune. Combined with the gold coin rewards from the floating island, Lin Yu can summon dozens of apex level units again. It's terrifying. I still can't understand why so many people are fighting over a level 5 equipment. And they even bid such an astonishing price. I don't get it either. Are people just foolishly rich? Hey, don't expose your pitiful intelligence in the world. It's clearly stated in the ghoul leather armor's description that wearing it allows you to disguise as a ghoul, fooling undead creatures below level 5. Do you know what that means? It means that with the ghoul leather armor, you can go out hunting at night. As long as you're careful and don't encounter higher level undead monsters, your leveling speed will skyrocket. Compared to leveling up, what's a few gold coins? It's not like you're an overlord. Damn, is it really possible? Of course, otherwise, why would so many experts participate in the auction? It's because they see the value of its disguise skill, which can speed up their leveling. Damn, I used to think those bidders were crazy, but now I realize that I'm the foolish one. Oh no, why didn't I think of that? What's the use of thinking about it? Do you have that many gold coins? Can you compete with those experts? Young man, know your limits. This is not something you can handle. Time quickly passed, and it was already noon. The angel squad finally returned to their territory. There were a total of 58 two-winged angels, all back safely. In addition, there were over 500 goblin disciples who escorted a large amount of food, basic resources, various monster materials, metal materials, and so on. All of these things were confiscated from the goblin tribe. Just these spoils of war alone were enough to be considered a great harvest, not to mention the 300 newly recruited goblin disciples, as well as the rewards of blueprints, gold coins, and equipment. It was truly a case of getting rich through a war. Overlord, sir, after returning to the territory, Ayada led the angel squad to pay their respects to Lin Yu and handed over the spoils of war to him. Gold coins, blueprints, equipment. Among them was the silver-level stronghold treasure chest that Lin Yu had been eagerly anticipating. 7%. Chapter 42. Open the treasure box. Big breakthrough in level. Just like its name. The treasure chest is silver white. It is a rectangular prism, flat in shape, with a length of about 40 centimeters. It doesn't look big, and it's light when held in the arms. Shaking it hard a few times, no sound can be heard. It's as if there's nothing inside. However, items in the transcendent world cannot be viewed with normal thinking. A warehouse that looks only slightly larger than a wooden house can store a total of 100,000 units of various resources, clearly indicating that the space has been compressed. There must be a special space inside the treasure chest. Let's see how lucky I am. Lin Yu placed the treasure chest on the floor of the hall, took a deep breath, and rubbed his hands together, like a gambler at a gambling table. But then again, opening a treasure chest is a matter of luck. Floating Island said that the items inside the treasure chest appear randomly. If you're lucky, you might get something good. A silver-level stronghold treasure chest is only one level higher than a bronze chest. Even if you're lucky, it's very difficult to get higher-level items. Unless it's a gold chest or a diamond chest. But no matter what, this treasure chest is practically a freebie from Floating Island. It's equivalent to freeloading. I'll accept whatever comes out. Lin Yu first gave himself some psychological counseling to avoid having high expectations and being greatly disappointed. Then, he reached out his right hand towards the treasure chest. Just as he was about to touch the lock of the treasure chest, a virtual information prompt appeared in his field of vision. Do you want to open the current treasure chest? Yes, number. Seeing the prompt, Lin Yu was momentarily stunned. He thought he would have to forcefully break the lock of the treasure chest, but he didn't expect there to be this function. This is much more convenient. He immediately selected yes. Suddenly, with a click, the lock of the treasure chest automatically unlocked. Then, the lid of the treasure chest slowly opened. Beams of golden light flew out of the chest and fell onto the floor of the hall. At the same time, a series of information prompts appeared in Lin Yu's mind. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord, you have successfully opened a silver-level stronghold treasure chest. You have obtained 1,000 units of food, wood, stone, and iron ore each. You have obtained a blueprint for a goblin unit. You have obtained a blueprint for a low-level equipment. You have obtained 300 gold coins. You have obtained a small bottle of primal energy. I actually got so many things. Resources, gold coins, blueprints, and even a small bottle of primal energy. Since there was no comparison, Lin Yu didn't know whether he had good luck or bad luck in opening these things. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that he is happy and satisfied. After opening a few more stronghold treasure chests in the future, I'll know whether this time was a stroke of luck or bad luck. Without thinking too much, Lin Yu immediately stored the total of 4,000 units of food and various basic resources into the warehouse of his territory. He also put away the 300 gold coins. What's left are 2 blueprints and a small bottle of primal energy. Primal energy is a necessity for the advancement of professions and units, often obtained as a reward from killing monsters. This small bottle of primal energy is equivalent to an experience bottle. Drinking it will increase experience. Among the items that can be exchanged with glory points, there is also primal energy. However, they are large bottles and the price is very high. Lin Yu's mere 100 glory points is not enough to exchange for them. I wonder how much experience this small bottle of primal energy can give me. Lin Yu looked at the small crystal bottle in his hand. Inside the bottle is some liquid, faintly revealing a golden light. At the same time, the information about the crystal bottle also appeared. Primal energy. Portion. Small. Quality. Low level. Usage condition. Only for use by low-level professionals. Introduction. It can help low-level professionals advance a complete level. However, as a low-quality primal energy, it is not suitable for middle-level professionals or professionals of higher levels. Only low-level professionals can use it. Isn't this tailor-made for me? Lin Yu was very happy. Last night, his level was promoted to level 3, but he was still in the stage of a low-level professional. Only when the level reaches level 4 can one be considered a middle-level professional. In other words, he could use this bottle of source energy to directly raise his level to level 4, achieving a complete level breakthrough. Similarly, angels cannot use it, because the lowest level angels are level 5. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately unscrewed the cap of the crystal bottle and drank all the pale golden liquid inside. Soon, a huge energy erupted within Lin Yu's body. In the blink of an eye, it filled his entire body and forcefully transformed his body in a very domineering manner. This process was very painful. Lin Yu almost cried out in pain. But when he thought of Ayata, Sally, and the other angels looking at him with reverence, he immediately clenched his teeth. He could call out at any time, but not now. The Lord of Holy Light also needed face. Time passed, and Lin Yu didn't know how long it had been. The pain in his body finally began to diminish until it disappeared completely. In that moment, Lin Yu felt like he had entered heaven, seeing the light of day again, feeling refreshed and elated. He opened his information template and took a look. Sure enough, his level had been promoted to level 4, early stage. Pain and pleasure. I hope I can have this opportunity to cross levels 100 times. Lin Yu grinned widely, ignoring the sweat-soaked clothes on his body, and turned his gaze to the 2 blueprints that had been opened from the treasure chest. Goblin Unit Quantity Blueprint. Level. Middle level. Introduction. After using this blueprint, you will obtain 300 goblin units, including goblin warriors, elite goblin warriors, and goblin champions. Equipment Blueprint. Level. Low level. Introduction. This blueprint grants your territory's blacksmith workshop the ability to craft various low-level equipment, up to level 3. At this moment, Lin Yu felt like the child of luck. He had obtained the blueprints for the blacksmith workshop and equipment. In addition, the angel squad had already found the 3 goblin blacksmiths described by Lewin and brought them back to the territory. Everything was ready, nothing was lacking. He could now immediately start mass-producing equipment. Although I can only craft low-level equipment, it is perfect for the current stage of combat professionals. Most combat professionals haven't even reached level 2, let alone level 3. When I put the equipment I mass produce on the market, it will definitely be in high demand. The door to making money has opened for me. Lin Yu was in high spirits. With the money he earned, he could summon more angels. For him, today was definitely a bountiful harvest. Lord Overlord. This time, after capturing the goblin tribe, we obtained 76 gold coins, 2 pieces of equipment, and 1 blueprint. Apart from these, the rest is the resources stored by the goblin tribe. Over 10,380 units of food. 6,400 units of wood. 4,080 units of stone. The quantity of iron ore is the least, only over 1,500 units. Ayata was reporting to Lin Yu about the other spoils of war. This did not include the building blueprints obtained from destroying the goblin tribe, as well as the items obtained from the silver-level stronghold treasure chest. In addition, there are the goblins from the tribe. Except for a few that were killed, such as the goblin chieftain and a dozen high-level goblins, the majority of the goblins have surrendered and become your followers. You did well. Lin Yu nodded in appreciation. Only obtaining 76 gold coins was not much. After all, the angel squad didn't kill many goblins when capturing the goblin tribe. However, they returned with a full load of other resources. Especially the nearly 14,000 units of food, it was truly a bountiful harvest, enough for the goblin followers in the territory to eat for a long time. Bring me those 2 pieces of equipment and the blueprint. Lin Yu said to Ayata. He learned from the kill notification that the blueprint was dropped by the goblin chieftain. This made him full of anticipation. After all, the goblin chieftain was a level 9 boss, so what it dropped must be good. 7%. Chapter 43 Learning High-Level Elemental Magic. Ayata immediately handed over the 2 pieces of equipment and 1 blueprint that he was about to harvest to Lin Yi. 2 pieces of equipment, 1 battle armor, and 1 long spear. Goblin Leader's Battle Armor. Type. Defense Equipment. Defense Level. Level 8. Durability. 100. Special Effect. Intimidation. Introduction. This equipment is crafted by a senior goblin blacksmith and can only be worn by goblin leaders. When worn by a professional, it possesses a certain level of intimidation towards ordinary goblins. Goblin Spear of Courage. Type. Attack Equipment. Damage Level. Level 7. Durability. 100. Special Effect. Aura of Courage. Introduction. The Spear of Courage is a masterpiece of a goblin blacksmith. It comes with an aura of courage, which can make even the most timid goblin fearless. Special reminder. Do not equip it until you have enough strength, otherwise you may die on the path of charge. Occupational Skill Blueprint. Fire Dragon Art. Type. Fire Elemental Magic. Level. High level. Learning requirement. None. Introduction. Don't overestimate yourself. This is a high-level fire elemental magic. Even if you learn it, you may not be able to successfully release it. 2 pieces of equipment, 1 level 8 defense equipment, and 1 level 7 attack equipment. They are all supreme grade equipment with special effects. And there's also a high-level magic skill blueprint. Lin Yu couldn't help but sigh again. This attack on the goblin tribe is really a big harvest. No wonder on the professional forum of Blue Star, there are often professionals bragging about how much they earned after capturing a certain stronghold. Now that he has experienced it firsthand, Lin Yu must admit. This is not just boasting, but a fact. The strongholds of the local forces can indeed fulfill the dream of overnight wealth for professionals. He is now dripping with wealth. Looking at the entire floating island, there is definitely no professional who can be richer than him. Just the gold coins he currently has are almost 3,000. As for various basic resources, there are more than enough. In addition, there are blueprints, equipment. These gains are almost all related to capturing the goblin tribe. As usual, Lin Yu put the goblin leader's battle armor and goblin spear of courage on the trading platform. The former is priced at 5,000 gold coins. The latter is priced at 3,000 gold coins. Both are at a clearance price. If no one buys them immediately, then an auction will be held at this time tomorrow. Lin Yu also didn't plan to sell these 2 pieces of equipment today, because he wants to sell the warehouse blueprint later. In case all the rich people bid for these 2 pieces of equipment and there is no competition for the warehouse blueprint, then he will suffer a big loss. As for the occupational skill blueprint, Fire Dragon Art, Lin Yu plans to use it himself. The fire dragon art is a high-level fire elemental magic, not only powerful but also has no learning restrictions. Even if you are not an elemental mage, you can learn it. Naturally, he doesn't want to sell it. Moreover, there is currently no professional who can afford it. The value of the fire dragon art has already exceeded the combined value of the goblin leader's battle armor, the spear of courage, the snake armor, and the ghoul leather armor. Selling it for less than 10,000 gold coins would be a loss. After all, this is a professional's high-level skill. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately chose to use the fire dragon technique blueprint. Instantly, the blueprint disappeared and transformed into countless golden lights that surged into Lin Yu's forehead. At the same time, Lin Yu's mind was filled with countless information about the fire dragon technique, and he quickly mastered this high-level elemental magic. Shall I give it a try? With a thought, Lin Yu unleashed the fire dragon technique. In an instant, energy surged within him, and the fire elemental magic in the world began to tremble. After a moment, a scorching flame emerged from the palm of his right hand. The flame quickly expanded, as if it was going to transform into a fire dragon. But at that moment, Lin Yu's body shook, his face turned pale, and the scorching flame in his palm instantly extinguished. Lord Overlord, Ayata and Sally exclaimed. The two beautiful angels quickly approached, supporting Lin Yu from both sides. I'm fine. Lin Yu waved his hand and took a deep breath, trying to suppress the dissipating elemental energy within him. I was careless. I overestimated myself. Lin Yu said. The reminder from the floating island was correct. Even though I have mastered the fire dragon technique now, I still can't successfully unleash it because my level is too low. With a low level, there is less energy element within me. I can't support the powerful great demon rune that the fire dragon technique requires, nor can I gather enough fire elemental energy to condense a fire dragon. At least, I need to reach level 7 to successfully unleash it. Lin Yu summarized the main reasons for his failure. Having a low level is a disadvantage. Looking at Lin Yu, whose complexion gradually regained some color but still appeared somewhat pale, Ayata couldn't help but say, Lord Overlord, you don't actually need to learn these things. No matter what you want to do, you can just give us orders. We angels are your most devout followers and will always follow you and serve you faithfully. That's different. Lin Yu smiled and said, you are you, and I am me. As a professional, I also hope to master powerful abilities. Moreover, perhaps I will return to the Blue Star soon. Before that, I must make myself stronger. Blue Star. Ayata looked puzzled. Lin Yu said, Blue Star is an ordinary world, not part of the floating island. The majority of people there are ordinary humans, with only a few being professionals. However, even though the number of professionals is small, their levels are very high. Some have even reached the king level and transcendent level. Lin Yu thought of the beautiful Su Dabin Dao. Su Yi's level should be at the king level, or possibly even higher. She was one of the first summoned professionals and had spent a whole year developing on other floating islands. Even if she advanced to the transcendent level, Lin Yu wouldn't be surprised. Is Blue Star Lord Overlord home planet? That's right. Lin Yu nodded. Seeing this, Ayata, Sally, and the others' eyes lit up, and they quickly asked, Lord Overlord, can we accompany you to Blue Star? Upon hearing this, Lin Yu couldn't help but be taken aback. It seemed that he had never considered this question before. He thought for a moment and said, it's probably not possible. I have never heard of any Overlord professional bringing their subordinates back to Blue Star. Seeing Ayata and the others' disappointed expressions, Lin Yu comforted them, but nothing is absolute. It's possible that it's just because their strength hasn't reached that level yet. When your strength improves, perhaps you can go to Blue Star with me. Upon hearing this, hope once again ignited on the beautiful faces of the angels. For now, it might not be possible for them. But after becoming gods, it's hard to say. Perhaps by then, they really could accompany Lord Overlord to Blue Star. Meanwhile, Lin Yu privately communicated with the myriad world's floating island. Instead of speculating, it would be better to seek answers directly from the floating island. 8%. Chapter 44. Is this a miracle? Lin Yu has always known that professionals can bring back certain items from the floating island to Blue Star. For example, there have been Overlord professionals who brought back spirit rice. They sold it at a high price to the wealthy on Blue Star, thus becoming rich overnight. Living in a villa, driving luxury cars, playing with beautiful women. There are also equipment, gold coins, and other items. During class, Lin Yu would occasionally see a red staff in the hands of Su Da Ban Dao, which was the equipment she brought back from the floating island. But I wonder if troops can be brought to Blue Star as well. Lin Yu didn't have to wait long. Soon, he received a reply from Myriad World's floating island. Transport troops to Blue Star. Overlord needs to pay a transportation fee of 5,000 gold coins for each troop. Only when the troops become eternal gods can they break the restriction and transmigrate between the two realms using their own divine power. So that's how it is. Lin Yu suddenly realized, no wonder I haven't heard of any Overlord professionals bringing troops to Blue Star. The reason is that the transportation fee is too expensive. After all, only eternal gods can, freely, cross the boundaries. And with 5,000 gold coins for one transportation quota, I'm afraid no Overlord professional would be willing to spend it. With this amount of gold coins, you can summon 100 Apex-level troops. Therefore, unless there are extremely special circumstances, Overlord professionals are unlikely to transport troops to Blue Star. Of course, Lin Yu thought there was another reason. That is, there were too few people in the first batch of randomly assigned Overlord professions. Su Da Ban Dao said that out of the first batch of over 1 million professionals, there were only a little over 100 Overlord professionals, and they were scattered all over the world. Considering the Overlord professionals who died, how many were left? With such a small number, naturally there is less information about Overlord professionals that has been leaked. Perhaps there really are Overlord professionals who have spent a high price to transport troops to Blue Star, but it just hasn't been leaked and made known to the general public. I also want to bring these angels back to Blue Star. But the problem is, I can't afford the transportation fee. Among all the professionals on the island, Lin Yu is considered the wealthiest. But he has never seen what it feels like to have 5,000 gold coins stacked together. I can only wait for the future. Lin Yu thought for a moment and asked Myriad World's floating island again, can everything else be brought back to Blue Star except for troops? Only the personal belongings of professionals are allowed. Only personal belongings. That's strange. How did those Overlord professionals bring spirit rice back to Blue Star? After all, it's impossible to bring just a little bit, it's at least hundreds or thousands of kilograms, how can that be considered personal belongings? It seemed like he thought of something. Lin Yu quickly communicated with Myriad World's floating island again. Is there a kind of professional equipment on the island that can hold a large number of items? Similar to the function of a base chest. Spatial equipment, it can hold a large number of items. Lin Yu suddenly realized that he was right. Spatial equipment is considered personal belongings. By storing spirit rice or other things in the spatial equipment, and then wearing the spatial equipment, can't you bypass the restrictions of the floating island? Decision made. The next goal is to obtain spatial equipment. Lin Yu is very interested in this magical equipment that only exists in novels. Moreover, with spatial equipment, storing items is also very convenient. For example, in the war with the goblin tribe this time. If Ayada had spatial equipment, she could store the resources she captured in the spatial equipment and directly bring them back to her territory, without the need for laborious transportation. Slow and prone to accidents. Then, Lin Yu consolidated all the remaining gains. Excluding food, as well as basic resources such as wood, stone, and iron ore. Total gold coins. 2,786, 1,000 plus 1,140 plus 270 plus 300 plus 76 equals 2,786. 12 blueprints, including 3 arrow tower blueprints, 5 wooden house blueprints, 1 warehouse blueprint, 1 fence blueprint, 1 goblin troop quantity blueprint, and 1 low-level equipment blueprint. New goblin disciples. 385. Among them, 1 is a level 8 goblin commander, 2 are level 7 goblin warriors, and there are less than 100 goblin soldiers. A spectacular profit. Lin Yu took out the warehouse blueprint first, preparing to list it on the island's trading platform. I am now selling the warehouse blueprint. Other professionals will definitely speculate that I have already built a warehouse, otherwise they wouldn't sell such a valuable blueprint. In that case, those professionals who want to be the first to upgrade their territory probably won't bid a high price, because they know they can't be faster than me. I need to come up with a plan. Lin Yu pondered for a moment. He thought he could find a professional to help him auction the warehouse blueprint. This way, his name wouldn't be displayed in the transaction information, and no one would know that the warehouse blueprint came from him. There is a candidate, the professional who exchanged the blacksmith shop blueprint for the fine steel sword with him before. As long as a contract is signed, there shouldn't be any problems. At most, after the auction ends, he can give that professional a red envelope as a token of gratitude. This is a backup plan. First, ask Myriad World's floating island if it's possible to hide the owner's information of the items. If it's possible, there's no need to find that professional. Thinking of this, Lin Yu once again communicated with Myriad World's floating island to inquire about the relevant information. Myriad World's floating island didn't find him troublesome and quickly replied to him. If the owner of the item is willing, it can be hidden. It's like protecting personal privacy. From this, it can be seen that Myriad World's floating island is very flexible and not rigid. It's best if it can be hidden. Lin Yu listed the warehouse blueprint on the island's trading platform and hid his information. After hiding, the owner column in the transaction section appeared as a series of. However, this can only be hidden until the auction ends. The reason is simple: I want to upgrade the territory at the moment the auction ends. If I upgrade too early, in case there's a world announcement, the warehouse blueprint won't sell for a high price. If I upgrade too late, the rewards might be snatched away by other bidders. But no matter what, others will guess that I'm the one who put the warehouse blueprint up for auction, otherwise the timing wouldn't be so coincidental. So, it can only be hidden temporarily. But it doesn't matter, I'm not afraid of being targeted. Even less afraid of being resented. I just need to time it well and maximize the value of the warehouse blueprint. The auction time for the warehouse blueprint is 1 hour. It's enough time for Lin Yu to do what he needs to do. And it's also enough time for those overlord experts to gather more gold coins. Without thinking too much, Lin Yu took out the goblin troop quantity blueprint and chose to use it. As the blueprint turned into countless golden lights and disappeared, a large group of goblins suddenly appeared on the nearby territory square. These goblins summoned by the blueprint were all fully armed. In terms of momentum, they clearly surpassed the goblin disciples in the territory. Praise the Overlord. We are willing to pledge our loyalty to the Overlord and die for him. 300 elite goblins knelt down on the ground and looked at Lin Yu with fanatical eyes. If Lin Yu were to order them to die now, they wouldn't hesitate. The other goblin disciples who witnessed this scene were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that the great overlord could summon a fully armed goblin army out of thin air. Could this be the legendary miracle? 8%. Chapter 45 Power Surges. Build a blacksmith shop. Summon 300 elite goblins, with a minimum level of 4. They were fully armed, high-spirited, and even released a powerful fighting intent, much stronger than the goblin believers in the territory. After all, they were elite goblins summoned using blueprints. There is a big difference compared to the native intelligent creatures like goblin believers. 300 elite goblins. Among them, there are 200 level 4 goblin warriors, 80 level 5 elite goblin warriors, and 20 level 6 goblin warriors. This is a very strong team. They can go hunting alone without following the angel squad. So far, Lin Yu has had about 1,000 goblins under his command. Among them, more than 700 are goblin believers. Among these goblin believers, there are more than 400 ordinary goblins, and the remaining 300 goblin believers are elite goblins. Among them, the most powerful one is the surrendered level 8 goblin commander. Lin Yu doesn't know his name yet because he hasn't had a chance to meet him. Lin Yu plans to form 2 goblin teams for hunting. One is a team of goblin believers led by the level 8 goblin commander, with a quantity of 200 selected by merit. The other is the fully equipped goblin troops in front of him. In addition, there is the angel squad led by Ayada. In this way, he has 3 hunting teams. The harvest of hunting will inevitably increase exponentially, including his level. Currently, Lin Yu is at the early stage of level 4. Undoubtedly the number 1 on the island. After all, most of the professionals are still at level 1 at this stage, and only a few have reached level 2. After today, the number of level 2 professionals will increase, but it is still far from Lin Yu, who is a level 4 professional. However, Lin Yu feels that it is not enough. He needs to level up faster. He must reach level 7 when he returns to Blue Star. Because after becoming a level 7 professional, he can release high-level fire magic, fire dragon art, further enhancing his combat power. The remaining few hundred ordinary goblin believers. Some will be assigned to logistics work for the 3 teams. The rest will stay in the territory and decompose the monster corpses. That's decided. Lin Yu turned to Ayada and said, "Later, I will upgrade the territory. You don't need to stay here either. Go out hunting as usual and improve your level." Yes, Lord Overlord, Ayata quickly complied. Then, she led a group of beautiful two-winged angels and left the territory. Immediately afterwards, Lin Yu gave the order for the goblins to go hunting. Soon, the two fully armed goblin teams rushed out of the territory and headed to the forest in a different direction from the angel squad. During this period, Lin Yu summoned the level 8 goblin commander. He learned that his name is Bard. He is a distant relative of the goblin chieftain Beryl who has already been killed. However, under the blessing of faith and becoming a fanatical believer, the goblin commander Bard has no resentment towards Lin Yu. On the contrary, he is extremely grateful to Lin Yu for redeeming the goblin tribe. The previous goblin tribe was in a state of extreme confusion and had no future. It was faith that guided the goblin tribe towards the light. And it was Lin Yu, the great lord of holy light, who brought hope to their tribe. When facing Lin Yu, the goblin commander Bard showed utmost respect, kneeling before him like a humble servant. This is reverence for a god. Bard, you have the courage to correct your mistakes and turn back from the wrong path. I believe you will become a very promising goblin. Your future will definitely surpass that of the goblin chieftain. Work hard and move forward. The future of the goblin tribe is in your hands. Lin Yu's words gave the goblin commander Bard strong belief and the motivation to move forward. He had never felt so hopeful and expectant about the future as he did today. After bidding farewell to the great lord of holy light, the goblin commander Bard raised his head high, proudly leading a group of goblin believers and went out hunting. In this way, within the territory, only Lin Yu and a few ordinary goblins remained. He thought for a moment and took out the blacksmith blueprint. Previously, Lin Yu had never used this building blueprint. It was because there was no blacksmith in the territory, so even if the blacksmith shop was built, equipment could not be crafted. Now, there was a blacksmith and equipment blueprints. The construction of the blacksmith shop was naturally urgent. Lin Yu walked around the territory and found a suitable location to build the blacksmith shop. As the blueprint turned into countless golden lights and disappeared, a virtual image of a building slowly appeared in the empty area ahead. After a moment, the virtual image became solid. A small building with a chimney appeared in Lin Yu's field of vision. Territory building. Blacksmith shop. Level. Low level. Number of blacksmiths. 3 to 5. Daily production of equipment. 50 to 100. Next level. Middle level. Upgrade requirements. 500 units of wood, 300 units of stone, 1000 units of iron ore. Note: the probability of the low-level blacksmith shop crafting supreme-grade equipment is 1%. Upgrading the blacksmith shop can increase the probability of supreme-grade equipment appearing. Looking at the information note of the blacksmith shop, Lin Yu immediately wanted to upgrade the blacksmith shop. He was not lacking in basic resources now. He could easily upgrade the blacksmith shop to middle level, thereby increasing the probability of supreme-grade equipment appearing. Compared to ordinary equipment, supreme-grade equipment was more valuable. Upgrading was very useful, but when Lin Yu saw that the number of blacksmiths was 3 to 5, he immediately withdrew the idea of upgrading the blacksmith shop. The number of blacksmiths that could be equipped, 3 to 5. The meaning was clear: a minimum of 3 blacksmiths were needed, and a maximum of 5 blacksmiths. Lin Yu's territory only had 3 blacksmiths in total, barely enough to maintain the operation of this low-level blacksmith shop. But if it was upgraded to middle level, it was possible that the minimum required number of blacksmiths could reach 5 or even more. He didn't have enough blacksmiths. By then, he might even have to close the blacksmith shop directly. It's better to be stable. Lin Yu beckoned to the 3 goblin blacksmiths who had been waiting nearby. One was an old goblin named Devon, and 2 younger goblins. The old goblin was a middle-level blacksmith, and when crafting equipment, the probability of supreme-grade equipment appearing increased by 3%. The 2 young goblins were low-level blacksmiths, without an increase in the probability of supreme-grade equipment. Lord Overlord, the 3 goblin blacksmiths knelt before Lin Yu, both fearful and excited. Lin Yu nodded slightly and said to Devon, from now on, this blacksmith shop will be entrusted to you. You can use the monster materials and metal materials in the territory warehouse. Crafting equipment is your main task. The secondary task is to select some smarter goblins and cultivate more blacksmiths for our territory. Do you understand? I understand, Lord Overlord. I will do my best to cultivate blacksmiths for you. Devon, the old goblin, said solemnly. Very well, you may rise. As he spoke, Lin Yu took out the low-level equipment blueprint and chose to use it. In this way, the blacksmith shop unlocked the ability to craft low-level equipment. The low-level equipment unlocked by the blueprint was equipment for all races and professions. Before this, the old goblin could only craft goblin equipment, but now it was different. He could craft various low-level equipment suitable for all races in the blacksmith shop. This was the function of the equipment blueprint. Then, Lin Yu took out the fence blueprint. Once the fence was built, he could upgrade the territory and simultaneously unlock the ability to summon 4 winged angels. Now, he had nearly 3,000 gold coins in reserve. This was prepared for summoning the 4 winged angels. 8%. Chapter 46. He puts his hands in his pockets, not knowing what his opponent is. Territory construction blueprint. Type: fence. Usage: 1 time. Construction requirements: 500 units of wood, 200 units of stone, 100 units of iron ore. Special reminder: the fence is an essential building for the territory, providing basic defense protection. As the blueprint turned into countless golden lights and disappeared, a circle of wooden fences appeared around Lin Yu's territory, surrounding the entire territory. The only thing not enclosed by the fence was the spirit field. The spirit field was located outside the territory. However, there was no need to worry about the safety of the spirit field. Lin Yu asked Myriad World's floating island and learned that as long as the territory was not captured, the spirit field would be invincible. The fence is made up of individual square logs. It is only a little over 1 meter in height. It seems very fragile and can be easily pushed over. But this is just appearance. Because this is a floating island world enveloped by the power of rules. The defense durability of the low-level fence is 300 points. Before the durability reaches 0, no matter how powerful a creature is, it cannot rush into Lin Yu's territory. This is the rule. After building the fence, Lin Yu opened the information panel of the territory and took a look. The prosperity, prerequisite buildings, and required resources, all 3 conditions have been met. He can now upgrade the territory at any time. However, he has to wait. He has to wait until the auction of the warehouse blueprint reaches its final moments before he can upgrade the territory. Otherwise, he won't be able to maximize the value of the warehouse blueprint. He opened the island trading platform. On the platform, the item he listed, the warehouse blueprint, is at the top of the auction. The auction has been going on for more than 20 minutes, and the bidding price for the warehouse blueprint, with a starting price of 1,000 gold coins, has already soared to 1,700 gold coins. Soon, it will surpass the price of a level 7 supreme grade equipment, snake scale armor. Unless something unexpected happens. After the auction ends, this warehouse blueprint will refresh the highest transaction price on the trading platform. His gaze turned to the island chat channel beside him. At this moment, the island chat channel is still bustling. However, the topic of discussion among the professionals has shifted from the world announcement to the warehouse blueprint anonymously sold by Lin Yu. No need to discuss anymore. I can be 100% sure that the warehouse blueprint is listed by Lin Yu. But if it's listed by the great Lin Yu, why did he choose to be anonymous? What else could it be? Of course, to get a higher price for the warehouse blueprint. Why were the prices of the fence blueprint and the arrow tower blueprint able to rise continuously before? It's because many overlord professionals wanted to be the first to upgrade their territories. With the world announcement and the reward of the floating island, it's a guaranteed profit. But now, Lin Yu has listed the warehouse blueprint. It means he already has the warehouse building. Even if someone takes away the warehouse blueprint, no one can be faster than him. The first person to upgrade the territory will undoubtedly be Lin Yu. Knowing that they can't compete, why are those territory professionals still willing to spend a high price to fight for the warehouse blueprint? So, to avoid this kind of situation, Lin Yu chose to be anonymous, letting those overlord professionals with a lucky mentality fight for it. If my prediction is correct, the Goblin Commander battle armor, the Spear of Courage that has been listed, and the warehouse blueprint, are all the spoils of Lin Yu capturing the Goblin tribe. The analysis of the brother upstairs is very reasonable. Agreed +1. Smart people still exist. After a series of analysis, Lin Yu's plan became clear. However, even so, it still couldn't stop the continuously skyrocketing bidding price for the warehouse blueprint. Just like that professional said, there are always some overlord professionals who have a lucky mentality. What if this warehouse blueprint is not sold by Lin Yu? Instead, it comes from an extremely lucky combat professional. The reason for being anonymous is simply not wanting to be famous or not wanting to cause trouble. After all, those who have the capital to participate in the auction of the warehouse blueprint are mostly top-notch professionals, and the vast majority are overlords at the level of alliance leaders, including the leader of the Hall of Kings. Exposing the information, it's hard to guarantee that it won't be threatened or targeted, to the point of eventually becoming enemies. That's why the seller chose to remain anonymous. That's what those bidders are thinking, including Golden Behemoth Overlord, who is also competing for the warehouse blueprint. He doesn't believe that Lin Yu's luck could be this good. The drop rate for the warehouse blueprint is pitifully low, and many professionals on the island haven't obtained it. On the other hand, Lin Yu has already obtained one and now a second one. How is this possible? It doesn't make sense for Lin Yu to encounter all the good things. So, he must compete for it and not let the warehouse blueprint fall into the hands of other overlord professionals, otherwise his first overlord plan will completely fail. By then, not only will he not be able to upgrade his territory, but he won't receive any rewards either. The fence blueprint and arrow tower blueprint that he bought at a high price before will also be a loss. Under the attention of countless professionals, the bidding price for the warehouse blueprint keeps rising. In less than half an hour, the bidding price has already surpassed 2,000 gold coins. But even so, it hasn't slowed down. It simply can't stop. It can be said that almost all the prominent overlord professionals on the island have participated in this bidding, especially those who have formed alliances. Not a single one is absent. Although they all know that the warehouse blueprint most likely comes from Lin Yu. But they still don't want to give up. Everyone wants to take a chance. After all, what if it's not from Lin Yu? Then they would be the first to upgrade their territory and get the rewards of the floating island. The last 10 minutes. The price of the warehouse blueprint has risen to 2,500 gold coins. In the last 5 minutes, the price breaks through the 3,000 gold coin mark. Such a sky-high price has shocked the entire island's chat channel. But it still hasn't ended. The closer it gets to the end, the more intense the bidding process becomes. Some overlord professionals have to regretfully withdraw because they don't have enough gold coins. But those who stay have gone crazy. For example, Golden Behemoth Overlord is urgently borrowing gold coins in the Alliance channel of the Hall of Kings. Leader, don't borrow any more gold coins. Lin Yu is cunning. This is clearly his trap. Yes, leader, be rational. Spending so many gold coins to buy a warehouse blueprint is simply not worth it. With over 3,000 gold coins, you could recruit 60 or 70 golden behemoths. In the Alliance channel, many members are persuading Golden Behemoth Overlord. But he doesn't listen at all. He has already invested a lot of gold coins to become the first overlord. Now, at the critical moment, how could he retreat? Even if he has to owe money everywhere, he must get the warehouse blueprint. With only 2 or 3 minutes left until the auction ends, Lin Yu hasn't made any moves, which means the warehouse blueprint has nothing to do with him. I must give it my all and not let any other overlord professional get the warehouse blueprint. Brothers, lend me your gold coins. Let me become the first overlord, receive the world announcement, and lead the Hall of Kings to a more glorious era. The Alliance members are extremely speechless about this pretentious leader. The leader doesn't listen to advice, leaving them with no way to help. In the end, many Alliance members still stepped forward and lent a considerable amount of gold coins to Golden Behemoth Overlord. After all, it's a loan with a contract, and they're not afraid of Golden Behemoth Overlord defaulting. Moreover, the interest is high. Regardless of who the warehouse blueprint ends up with, these creditors will make a profit. This time, let's see who can compete with me. With the gold coins in hand, Golden Behemoth Overlord confidence rises. He directly raises the bidding price for the warehouse blueprint from over 3,300 to a solid 3,500 gold coins. With his hands in his pockets, he doesn't know what it means to have an opponent. In the final bidding showdown, he will rampage. 8%. Chapter 47 Sky High Price Drawings. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord. Soon, there were only 20 seconds left in the auction for the warehouse blueprint. Almost no one continued to bid. Even the Golden Behemoth Overlord did not bid again. Because, after more than 10 rounds of chaotic bidding, he had raised the bidding price to a terrifying 4,800 gold coins, driving away all competitors. This was also his limit. Even if it went higher, he couldn't produce more gold coins. But he believed that others were the same. If nothing unexpected happened, the warehouse blueprint would soon be in his hands. In reality, many people thought he was crazy to spend 4,800 gold coins to bid for a warehouse blueprint, and he himself felt a bit crazy. After all, with this amount of gold coins, he could recruit a total of 96 golden behemoths. Just thinking about this made his heart ache. If it weren't for the first territory upgrade and the reward of obtaining the floating island, he would never have done such a foolish thing. A mere warehouse blueprint, how could it compare to a team of golden behemoths? At this moment, the golden behemoth overlord had already closed the trading platform. He was closely monitoring the situation on the island chat channel. He wasn't looking at what the professionals in the chat channel were talking about, but rather paying attention to whether there were any changes in the world announcement pinned at the top of the chat channel. The warehouse blueprint was almost in his grasp. No one could compete with him. The reason he was paying attention to the world announcement was to see if there were any new world announcements, such as congratulations to Lin Yu for becoming the first overlord professional to upgrade his territory. He silently prayed that such a thing would not happen. Otherwise, he would be at a huge loss. He would lose everything, down to his last pair of underwear. It seemed that his prayers had worked. Until the end of the auction, when the warehouse blueprint fell into his hands, there was still no change in the world announcement on the island chat channel. From beginning to end, it was the world announcement congratulating Lin Yu for capturing the goblin tribe. Ha ha ha, my speculation was correct. I knew that not everything good would fall into Lin Yu's lap. This time it's finally my turn. My name will shine at the top of the chat channel, admired and revered by countless professionals. My fame will instantly surpass Lin Yu and be remembered by every professional. The golden behemoth overlord was ecstatic. He immediately left the island chat channel and contacted Myriad World's floating island. Hurry up and upgrade my territory. Soon, a reply came from Myriad World's floating island. The current territory lacks a warehouse building and does not meet the upgrade requirements. Damn it. The young-looking golden behemoth overlord cursed in anger. But he could only quickly find a place to build the warehouse first. The rules of the floating island were something he couldn't challenge. However, the golden behemoth overlord did not know that shortly after he left the island chat channel, the world announcement he had been following suddenly changed. It was a new world announcement belonging to Lin Yu. Almost at the same time, the entire island chat channel erupted. The Alliance chat channel of the Hall of Kings also erupted. Damn, it's Lin Yu again. The person who became the first to upgrade the territory actually got a world announcement, and it really is Lin Yu. I knew the guild leader was fooled. That warehouse blueprint was clearly a trap set by Lin Yu for all overlord professionals, causing a large number of overlord professionals to fall into it. That's not entirely true. Although other overlord professionals fell into the trap, they eventually climbed out. Only our stupid alliance leader fell into the pit and became disabled. By the way, where is our alliance leader? Most likely hiding in the territory crying. That's not necessarily true. It's possible that the alliance leader doesn't know that the world announcement has changed and is busy building warehouses and upgrading the territory. When the alliance leader comes online and sees that the world announcement and rewards have been taken by Lin Yu, they might just faint. This idiotic alliance leader is driving me crazy. I'm quitting the alliance. I'm not in a hurry, I'll wait a bit longer. What are you waiting for? This stubborn and immature alliance leader will never be able to develop the alliance. Although Hall of Kings currently has over 100,000 people and the largest influence, it will eventually be destroyed by them. I know all of that. If you know, why are you still in this alliance? I have no choice, the alliance leader still owes me a few gold coins. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. On Lin Yu's side, he knew that even if the warehouse blueprint was taken by someone else, they wouldn't be able to upgrade their territory immediately. They needed to build the warehouse first. So, he wasn't in a rush. After the 4,800 gold coins from the auction fell into his pocket, he contacted Myriad World's floating island that he had already prepared. The upgrade went smoothly. No unexpected incidents occurred. He simply became the first overlord profession to upgrade their territory. After upgrading to a middle-level village, the territory's area expanded by nearly 10 times. There was a large amount of empty land. These empty lands could be used to build various types of buildings. In Lin Yu's hands, there were still 3 arrow tower blueprints, and 5 wooden house blueprints, which he planned to use later. Especially the wooden house blueprints, they needed to be used first. Aside from his angel, the number of goblins in the territory had already exceeded 1,000. With so many goblins, they couldn't all camp in the open. And for that, they needed the wooden house blueprints to build wooden houses for the goblin residents. After the territory upgrade, aside from the expansion in size, the Hall of the Overlord also underwent some changes. The small building became taller and larger. The bedroom on the second floor also became more exquisite, no longer just a simple arrangement of a bed and two bedside tables. Of course, Lin Yu didn't take the time to appreciate his bedroom. Because at this moment, a message from Myriad World's floating island appeared in his mind. Congratulations, Overlord, your territory has successfully upgraded to a middle-level village. You are one step closer to the unification of the floating island. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord. You are the first territory profession to upgrade, and in recognition of your outstanding performance, you are rewarded with 500 gold coins, 200 honor points, and 1,000 reputation points. Your name will shine in the island's chat channel, inspiring other island professions to move forward bravely. Another world announcement. Lin Yu was very happy. He had already received 2 world announcements today. If there was one word to describe his fame on the island, it would definitely be renowned and well-known. Any island profession would not be unfamiliar with him, all knew his name. However, Lin Yu didn't care about all of that. He felt that he wasn't that shallow of a person. Thinking of this, Lin Yu hummed a few times and walked straight into the newly renovated Hall of the Overlord. The wooden house blueprints and arrow tower blueprints could be used later. Right now, he couldn't wait to summon his 4-winged angel. 8%. Chapter 48 Summoning. A unique 4-winged angel. Compared to before, the upgraded Hall of the Overlord finally had a hint of grandeur. The 4 pillars in the hall had become 8. Each pillar was carved with various patterns, resembling some kind of mysterious magical runes. Lin Yu opened the exclusive unit summoning information for the Hall of the Overlord. Sure enough, the summoning permission for the 4-winged angel was unlocked. Recruitment requirements. 2-winged angel. 50 gold coins recruitable. 4-winged angel. 200 gold coins recruitable. 6-winged angel. 1,000 gold coins unlocked at high-level village. 8-winged angel. 5,000 gold coins unlocked at town-level territory. 10-winged angel. 4-winged angel. 200 gold coins each. It's 4 times more expensive than the 2-winged angel. The amount of gold coins needed to summon one 4-winged angel is enough to summon 4 2-winged angels. Of course, you can't measure it by quantity. After all, the 4-winged angel has a higher position than the 2-winged angel. Without a doubt, whether it's the initial level, combat power, or growth potential, the 4-winged angel surpasses the 2-winged angel. It's definitely more expensive for a reason. Without much thought, Lin Yu calculated his gold coin reserves. Previously, he had a total of 2,786 gold coins. Afterwards, he obtained 4,800 gold coins from auctioning a warehouse blueprint. In addition, he received 500 gold coins as a reward for the first upgraded territory in the floating island. The total was 8,086 gold coins. This was an astonishing number. It could be said that no professional on the island had more gold coins than Lin Yu, even the apex-level professionals who had formed alliances. 8,086 gold coins. I can summon 44 winged angels. If it were 2 winged angels, I could summon 161. Lin Yu took a deep breath. So far, he only had a total of 58 2-winged angels under his command. It could be imagined what it meant to summon over 162 winged angels at once. But this time, I want to summon the 4-winged angel. Without hesitation, he immediately communicated with the Myriad World's floating island and prepared to summon. But right after his thoughts were transmitted, he suddenly received a message from the Myriad World's floating island. The Overlord needs to summon higher-level angels according to the angel combat team's ratio. For every 52 winged angels under the Overlord command, 1 4-winged angel can be summoned. A standard-sized angel combat team consists of 52 winged angels led by 1 4-winged angel. For every 502 winged angels, 10 angel combat teams, 1 6-winged angel can be summoned to form a standard-sized small angel legion. For every 5,002 winged angels, 10 small angel legions, 1 8-winged angel can be summoned to form a standard-sized medium angel legion. For every 50,002 winged angels, 10 medium angel legions, 1 10-winged angel can be summoned to form a standard-sized large angel legion. And so on. After reading the message sent by the Myriad World's floating island, Lin Yu couldn't help but widen his eyes. If he continued to summon angels according to this ratio, wouldn't he have hundreds of thousands of angels under his command by the time he could summon a 12-winged angel? Why can't I directly summon higher-level angels? Upon receiving Lin Yu's thoughts, the myriad world's floating island immediately replied. A territory cannot only have high-ranking individuals, it also needs a large number of grassroots residents. This is the foundation for a territory's long-term development and eternal inheritance. The same goes for a legion. If there is a legion commander, there naturally needs to be grassroots soldiers. The overlord should not underestimate the two-winged angel. Every race's unit has the ability to evolve on its own. The only difference lies in the level of evolutionary talent. Angels are a unique type of unit with extremely powerful evolutionary talents. In fact, the vast majority of high-ranking celestial beings are evolved from the weakest two-winged angels. Two-winged angels under the Overlord command can also evolve into high-ranking celestial beings. Upon hearing the explanation of the myriad world's floating island, Lin Yu had only one thought in his mind. That is to summon two-winged angels to save money. Summoning a four-winged angel requires 200 gold coins. Summoning a two-winged angel only requires 50 gold coins. If a two-winged angel under his command evolves into a four-winged angel, it would be equivalent to saving him 150 gold coins. And if it evolves into a six-winged angel, even more gold coins would be saved. Is there no limit to summoning two-winged angels? There are no restrictions. The Overlord can summon an unlimited number of two-winged angels. However, please remember that evolution is a gradual process. A territory still needs strong individuals to oversee its growth and development. Understood. Just now, Lin Yu almost gave up the idea of summoning a four-winged angel and wanted to use all the gold coins in his hand to summon two-winged angels. After all, as long as 1/10 of the two-winged angels achieve evolution, he would make a huge profit. However, the reminder from the myriad world's floating island also made sense. Who knows when the two-winged angel he summons will be able to evolve? Therefore, the most reliable method is to follow the angel combat team ratio provided by the myriad world's floating island to summon angels of various grades. In this way, under his command, there would be both high-ranking celestial beings and a large number of two-winged angels to achieve evolution. Let me calculate. A standard-sized angel combat team consists of one four-winged angel and 52 winged angels. That means, summoning an angel combat team requires consuming 2,700 gold coins. I currently have 8,086 gold coins, so I can only summon two standard-sized, but still considered fully equipped, angel combat teams. Yes, Lin Yu Overlord. After summoning, you will have 2,686 gold coins left. You are only 14 gold coins short of being able to summon 3 fully equipped angel combat teams. Quote. Looking at the information prompt that appeared in his mind, Lin Yu rolled his eyes. He can do this simple math. No need for special reminders. Then let's summon 2 angel combat teams first. With the remaining 2,686 gold coins, I will summon 1 four-winged angel and 49 two-winged angels respectively. In this way, he would only have 36 gold coins left in his hand. It can be considered a clean use. Soon, a black hole appeared in the hall of the Overlord. Just like the previous summoning, Lin Yu had a feeling that the black hole had undergone some changes. The black hole seemed to have turned into an eye. Behind it, there was something peering at him. However, this feeling did not last long, because soon, beautiful figures flew out of the black hole. Leading them were the 3 four-winged angels summoned this time. Each one was stunningly beautiful, with fair and flawless skin. If they were to be described, they had the face of an angel and the figure of a devil, incredibly beautiful. In terms of attire, 2 of the four-winged angels were wearing equipment sets similar to the two-winged angels. Uniform silver battle armor, holding a sword of golden flames. The difference was that they had 2 pairs of snow-white angel wings on their backs, which was the symbol of being a four-winged angel. In terms of aura, they were stronger than the two-winged angels. As for the third four-winged angel, she was wearing a white magic gown and no longer held a sword of the angels, but a staff made of white jade. Lin Yu was curious. Why was this four-winged angel different? He immediately opened the information template of the 3 four-winged angels for comparison. 8%. Chapter 49 Angel Faction. Soft four-winged Grand Angel. Four-winged Angel. Initial level. Level 7. Growth potential. Demigod peak. Combat skills. Holy Cross Sword, Holy Light Slash, Radiant Triple Slash, Shield of Holy Light, Angelic Sacred Flame. Introduction. The four-winged angel belongs to the orthodox faction of the angel race, under the command of the 12-winged throne angel. They are the most skilled warriors in the angel race, excelling in charging into battle with unwavering willpower and unwavering faith. This information template belongs to the four-winged angel who wields the angelic swords. Initial level. Level 7. Growth potential. Demigod peak. The template information is exactly the same, but it is indeed stronger than the two-winged angel. It is worth noting that they belong to the 12-winged throne angel. If they can break through to 4 wings, they can become the 6-winged angel of strength. 4-winged grand angel. Initial level. Level 7. Growth potential. Demigod peak. Combat skills. Holy light magic, holy light imprisonment, divine faith magic. Introduction. The 4-winged grand angel belongs to the orthodox faction of the angel race, under the command of the 12-winged wisdom angel. They are the 4-winged grand angel who possesses special abilities and excels in spreading faith for the gods. This template belongs to the 4-winged angel who wears a platinum-colored magic robe and wields a staff. Also at an initial level of 7. Growth potential. Demigod peak. However, unlike the other two 4-winged angels, she excels in divine faith magic and belongs to the command of the 12-winged wisdom angel. Her name is the 4-winged grand angel. Truly unique. Soon, all the angels descended. At a glance, the hall of the overlord was filled with beautiful angels. The entire space was filled with divine radiance. Greetings, Lord Overlord. May the Holy Lord be eternal, and may the holy light be ever present. Led by the 3 4-winged angels, over 100 angels bowed to Lin Yu. Their expressions and gazes were filled with infinite reverence and fervent faith towards Lin Yu. Lin Yu is the Lord of Holy Light. To the angels, Lin Yu is everything to them. No matter what Lin Yu asks them to do, they will not hesitate. Serving the Lord of Holy Light is their duty. Lin Yu nodded slightly. Then, he ordered all the 2-winged angels to retreat. The space in the hall of the overlord was still too small, and having over 100 angels gathered here would be very crowded. He only left the 3 4-winged angels. First, Lin Yu looked at the 4-winged grand angel wearing a platinum-colored magic robe and asked, "Are the angel race divided into different factions?" "Yes, Lord Overlord." The 4-winged grand angel held her staff, emitting a soft holy light. Facing Lin Yu, she slightly lowered her beautiful fair cheek and respectfully said, "Among our angel race, the largest number belongs to the orthodox faction, while the other angels are special angels with fewer numbers. For example, the angel of love, war angel, fate angel, paradise angel, and so on. In addition, the orthodox faction of angels is also divided into 3 camps. Commander-level angels led by the 12-winged seraphim, under which there are angel lords and dominion angels. Divine art-level angels led by the 12-winged wisdom angel, under which there are seeker angels and grand angels. War-level angels led by the 12-winged throne angel, under which there are angel of strength and war angels, ordinary 2-winged angels. Although the functions of the 3 camps are different, we all belong to the orthodox angel faction and can form a well-functioning angel legion when combined. After hearing the explanation from the 4-winged grand angel, Lin Yu gained a better understanding of the angel race. Then, he curiously asked, "Are there any higher-ranking angels above the 12-winged angel?" "Yes," 4-winged grand angel respectfully said, "there are also 14-winged angels, who are usually the commanders of multiple legions. Additionally, there are 16-winged archangels, and the highest-ranking 18-winged grand archangels." Lin Yu took a deep breath. The words of the 4-winged grand angel had truly broadened his horizons. The most terrifying thing is, the initial level of a 4-winged angel is already at level 7, with the potential to grow into a demigod peak. Without a doubt, the growth potential of a 6-winged angel would definitely be at the true god level. Because the higher the rank of the angel, the higher their initial level and growth potential. So, what level of initial level and growth potential does the highest-ranking 18-winged grand archangel possess? It wouldn't be surprising if their initial level was already at the true god level upon summoning. They would be born as eternal gods. Just thinking about it is terrifying. It's no wonder that the Myriad Worlds floating island considers angels as a unique type of troops. Compared to other races' troops, there is simply no comparison to the law manifestation of angels. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yu gave names to the 3 4-winged angels. The 2 4-winged angels under the command of the 12-winged throne angel, who excel in charging into battle, were named Maureen and Myralda, respectively. As for the 4-winged grand angel who excels in divine arts, she was named Elena. Praise the Lord Overlord. Thank you for bestowing us with names. May you be eternal and immortal. The three beautiful angels were extremely excited. Being bestowed with names by the Lord of Holy Light was a great honor for them. Among the more than 102 winged angels summoned alongside them, not a single one received the Lord's bestowed name. Lin Yu nodded slightly and said to the two four-winged angels, Maureen, Myralda, each of you will lead a fully equipped angel combat team and go to the wilderness to hunt. Elena. Then, his gaze fell on the four-winged grand angel. You currently have 49 two-winged angels under your command. When Ayata's team returns in the evening, choose one two-winged angel from them and form a fully equipped squad. I will obey your divine oracle, my lord. Elena complied, her voice incredibly gentle and ethereal, soothing the hearts of those who heard it. She held an angelic staff made of white jade. At the top of the divine arts, a holy radiance emanated, enveloping her perfectly sculpted figure. Compared to the other two four-winged angels, her temperament appeared softer and more divine. Of course, in terms of beauty, the three angels were equally stunning. They just had slightly different temperaments. Go. Lead your teams and go to the wilderness. Lin Yu said, hunting the evil monsters in the outside world can increase your levels. I hope you can grow faster, but it's not just about levels. If you can evolve and become six-winged angels of strength, seeker angels with 6 wings. That would be the happiest thing for me. We will obey, Lord Overlord. The three beautiful angels said in unison, we will do our best to break through the limitations of our ranks and grow into six-winged angels, not disappointing Lord Overlord. Very well. A smile appeared on Lin Yu's face. Soon, Elena and the other two flew away with more than 102 winged angels. They split into 3 teams. 2 fully equipped teams and 1 nearly fully equipped team. They headed towards different directions in the forest. With this, Lin Yu now had 6 teams hunting in the outside world. 4 angel combat teams and 2 goblin teams. This was an extremely terrifying matter. Once this news spread and was known by the professionals on the island, countless professionals would likely be stunned and filled with shock. Especially those overlord professionals who intended to compete for the position of island lord. They would probably feel deep despair. 3.9%. Chapter 50 Big Construction. My mind exploded. In the blink of an eye. The number of angels under my command has exceeded 200. Led by Ayata and Sally, the angel combat team has a total of 58 angels. And this time, Lin Yu summoned 3 four-winged angels and 149 two-winged angels, totaling 152 angels. All these angels combined. The total number is exactly 210. Lin Yu felt delighted in his heart and muttered to himself, at this rate of expansion, I believe it won't be long before the number of angels under my command reaches 1,000. This is not impossible, although the expensive warehouse blueprint was an accident. But now, his blacksmith shop has started operating. Every day, batches of equipment are being crafted. He can sell these equipment to obtain a large amount of gold coins, which can then be used to summon angels. So, surpassing 1,000 angels is not a distant dream. It is a goal that can be achieved quickly. The rapid increase in the number of angels, as well as the expansion of the 2 goblin teams, means that my level will also increase rapidly. Once he reaches level 7, he can master the high-level magic dragon fire technique. Without thinking too much about it, Lin Yu opened the information panel after upgrading his territory. Territory. Level. Middle level village. Overlord. Lin Yu. Territory buildings. Hall of the Overlord, wooden house, warehouse, arrow tower, fence, blacksmith shop. Spirit field level. Level 1. Prosperity. 1395. Next level. High level village. Upgrade conditions. Condition 1. Prosperity reaches 1000 completed. Condition 2. Possess blacksmith shop, watchtower, and 10 middle level buildings. Condition 3. 5,000 units of wood, 5,000 units of stone, 5,000 units of iron ore. The requirement for prosperity, I have already met. The difficulty of obtaining basic resources is not high, and I will be able to gather them quickly. I already have the blacksmith shop. For me, having 10 middle-level buildings is also simple. The slightly more difficult part is the watchtower. I need to find a way to obtain a watchtower blueprint. No rush, take it slow. Tomorrow, I will conquer the Grey Dwarf tribe, followed by the 2-headed demon tribe. I believe that after capturing these 2 tribes, I should be able to obtain the watchtower blueprint. Lin Yu's mentality was very relaxed. Compared to other overlords on the island, he was already far ahead. Coupled with the growing Angel Legion, and the 2 goblin teams with a total number of 500, his power would undoubtedly grow like a snowball, becoming larger and larger. Enough to leave those overlords far behind. After obtaining the Watchtower blueprint, I will continue to upgrade the territory. And once the territory is upgraded to a high-level village, I will unlock the ability to summon 6 winged angels. Unless there are unexpected circumstances, the growth potential of 6 winged angels must have reached the true god level. After all, 4 winged angels are already at the demigod peak. By then, I will have a god-level unit under my command. 2 winged angels and 4 winged angels are not considered god-level units, because their growth potential is demigod and demigod peak, respectively. But 6 winged angels, with a growth potential of true god, can truly be called a god-level unit. Outside the Hall of the Overlord, Lin Yu suddenly felt a wave of worship and fanaticism in the eyes of the ordinary goblin believers. These gazes came from those low-powered goblins who were unable to go out hunting and stayed in the territory to do logistics work. Lin Yu did not pretend to be arrogant or indifferent like a god. He was quite kind and smiled slightly, nodding towards the goblin believers who gathered in the distance, not daring to speak loudly. For him, this was just a simple gesture. But for these goblin believers, his simple gesture was already the greatest honor. Every goblin believer seemed to feel the attention and appreciation from the gods. In an instant, they all became extremely excited. They worked harder and more enthusiastically. This is the power of faith. Seeing this scene, Lin Yu couldn't help but sigh. Then, he took out the last 3 arrow tower blueprints and 5 wooden house blueprints. He had previously obtained 1 arrow tower blueprint. As for the wooden house blueprints, it was his first time acquiring them. Territory building blueprints. Type: wooden house. Number of uses: 10. Construction requirements: 100 units of wood, 50 units of stone. Special reminder: the wooden house is the basic building of the territory, but don't underestimate it. Without it, you may lose the trust of your subjects. An overlord who cannot provide basic living conditions for their subjects is not worthy of their loyalty. Looking at the information on the wooden house blueprints, Lin Yu couldn't help but mutter to himself, faith is a good thing. It can make the subjects remain loyal to me at all times, even if they have to live in the open for several days without a house. In the floating island world, there was no concept of loyalty. Both the troops and the indigenous intelligent beings were the same. If an overlord was unfriendly to their troops and indigenous subjects, betrayal was not impossible. Especially for the indigenous subjects who had joined voluntarily. They had their own positions and greater freedom. Compared to summoned troops, the attitude and loyalty of indigenous subjects towards the overlord were more easily influenced by the surrounding environment. If the environment was harsh and the overlord was cruel, betrayal was highly likely. Therefore, Lin Yu was fortunate. His angels were best at spreading faith. With the power of faith, the goblin believers in the territory remained extremely loyal to Lin Yu, even if they had to camp in the open for several days without a house. If it were another overlord, these indigenous goblins would probably have rebelled. To build a wooden house, 100 units of wood and 50 units of stone are required. The cost is relatively cheap. Lin Yu had 5 wooden house blueprints, and each blueprint could be used 10 times, which meant he could build a total of 50 wooden houses, consuming 5,000 units of wood and 2,500 units of stone. For Lin Yu, he could easily afford these resources. He opened the warehouse and looked at the reserves of various resources. Food: 28,364 units. Wood: 17,450 units. Stone: 12,000 units. Iron ore: 8,720 units. With so many basic resources, there is more than enough to build all the arrow towers and wooden houses. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately started construction. Soon, arrow towers and rows of wooden houses rose up in his territory. In return, the prosperity of the territory rapidly increased. At the same time, the alliance channel of the Hall of Kings exploded. The golden behemoth overlord who had paid a high price to win the warehouse blueprint finally logged in. But as soon as he logged in and saw the chat messages in the alliance channel, as well as the new world announcement at the top of the island's chat channel, the golden behemoth overlord mentality collapsed. Did he really fall for Lin Yu's trick? And that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was, he had only emerged as the winner after the chaotic bidding, and had snatched the warehouse blueprint at an astonishingly high price. But what was the result? He ended up falling into the pit dug by Lin Yu. In other words, he was the unique idiot who fell into the pit. And he jumped in himself. No matter who it happened to, their mentality would explode. 9%. Chapter 51 New World Announcement. Kill Lin Yu and avenge the shame. At this moment, a new world announcement hangs high at the top of the island chat channel. Congratulations to Overlord Lin Yu for upgrading their territory to a middle-level village. As the first overlord to upgrade their territory after arriving on the floating island, Lin Yu is rewarded with 500 gold coins, 200 glory points, and 1000 reputation points. I hope all the professionals on the island can take Lin Yu as an example and break through themselves, bravely moving forward. Rows of golden characters shimmer with dazzling brilliance. Eye-catching and dazzling. Below the world announcement is the bustling island chat channel. Countless professionals on the island gather here, venting their emotions through words. Excitement, jealousy, admiration, shock. Overlord Lin Yu is really strong. In just one day, the floating island has released 2 world announcements about Overlord Lin Yu. It's simply invincible. Now, Lin Yu is well known on the island. Indeed, with 2 world announcements, if anyone still doesn't know the name Lin Yu, it would be a miracle. Envious +1. On the other hand, I'm not surprised at all by this world announcement. I was prepared for it. When the warehouse blueprints appeared on the trading platform, I knew that this reward from the floating island was definitely for Lin Yu. Even fools can see that, you know. Those overlords who participated in the auction probably guessed that the warehouse blueprints came from Lin Yu, but without solid evidence, they still wanted to take a gamble. If I were an overlord, I would also take a chance. The rewards from the floating island are too generous: 500 gold coins, 200 glory points, and 1000 reputation points. Besides the gold coins, the glory points and reputation points in this reward are doubled. Glory points and reputation points cannot be measured by gold coins. Especially glory points, they can be exchanged for various rare items in the glory contribution ranking, and even for a real divine weapon. Reputation points are also very important. I asked Myriad World's floating island and found out that if an overlord wants to establish a kingdom, they need a certain amount of reputation points. Without enough reputation points, even if the power is strong enough, they cannot become a king. By my calculations, Lin Yu already has 300 glory points and 1500 reputation points. The word, envy, can no longer describe my current mood. Just at this moment, someone shifted the topic back to the auction of the warehouse blueprints. There was a sense of relief and schadenfreude in their words. As one of the participants in the auction for the warehouse blueprints, I can only say that I'm glad I didn't have much gold coins, otherwise I would have fallen into Lin Yu's trap. Haha, just thinking about it makes me laugh. Speaking of which, who actually won the auction for the warehouse blueprints? Someone just revealed that the winner of the auction was the leader of the Hall of Kings. The overlord who owns the Apex level unit, Golden Behemoth. That's right. What an Apex level overlord, just a pure Chunabu idiot. Many members in the Hall of Kings Alliance channel advised him not to bid, but he didn't listen. It's normal for him not to listen. After all, they had already come this far. I wonder what the leader of the Hall of Kings is feeling right now. If it were me, I would be furious. Not exactly furious, but it cannot be denied. The Golden Behemoth overlord mentality has completely collapsed. Especially when he sees these chat messages and the world announcement pinned at the top, his mentality completely explodes. If there were a regret pill in the world, he would definitely swallow them all. After all, the feeling of being socially dead is too unbearable. Damn you, Lin Yu. To think you dug a pit for me to jump into, I will definitely get my revenge someday. The world announcement that was pinned at the top, with rows of dazzling golden characters, appeared extremely glaring in the eyes of Golden Behemoth Overlord, making him grit his teeth in anger. This time, his losses were too great. Not only did he lose face, but he also lost a large amount of gold coins. He was now deeply in debt. For a long time to come, he would have to work hard to repay those creditors. If he could be the first to upgrade his territory and receive the reward of the floating island, then it would be fine. But the problem was, even though he upgraded his territory at the same time as Lin Yu, he ended up empty-handed because he was a few minutes late. He gained nothing and ended up with a pile of debt. He didn't hold a grudge against Lin Yu, of course. After all, he always believed that Lin Yu had tricked him. Enter the Alliance chat channel, Hall of Kings. Looking at the constantly refreshing chat messages in the channel, Golden Behemoth Overlord mood became even worse. Because in the Alliance channel, many members were mocking him. Not only that, but many Alliance members were leaving Hall of Kings one after another. In just a short while, thousands of people left the Alliance. The impact was too severe. This Alliance is boring. The stupid actions of the Alliance leader have made all of us members lose face together. I'm embarrassed to tell others in the island's chat channel that I'm a member of Hall of Kings. Everyone is the same. Now on the island, which professional doesn't know that our Alliance leader did something stupid? Boring. I'm leaving. Brothers, let's leave the Alliance together. I've already contacted the next Alliance, Midsummer Night, which is the second Alliance on the island. The leader of Midsummer Night is also an Apex level overlord, and she's a beauty. Is that true? Forget about being an Apex level overlord. How do you know she's a beauty? Don't tell me she's a stingy man. Why would we be deceived? I knew her when I was on Blue Star. She's one of the most beautiful girls in our academy. If I didn't know her name and added her as a friend to confirm, I wouldn't believe her luck could be so good to randomly obtain an Apex level unit. Oh my god. What are we waiting for? Let's leave the Alliance. I've made up my mind. Midsummer Night will be my new home. In the blink of an eye, a large number of Alliance members left Hall of Kings, and the number was even greater than before. Obviously, they were all going for the beautiful leader of Midsummer Night. Seeing this scene, Golden Behemoth Overlord panicked. If this continued, the Hall of Kings he had built would collapse sooner or later. You, Sha Qingyu, you actually poached people and brought them to me. Golden Behemoth Overlord cursed angrily. The Sha Qingyu he mentioned was the leader of the Alliance Midsummer Night. The leaders of various alliances on the island basically added each other as friends in private and communicated through messages, so they knew each other to some extent. He had reason to suspect that the person who caused the incident of leaving the alliance just now was sent by Sha Qingyu. Lin, you tricked me, and now you're trying to trick me too. This isn't over. Golden Behemoth Overlord was very angry. But he also knew that now was not the time to be angry. Seeing more and more alliance members leaving, he immediately stood up, publicly apologized, and reassured the restless alliance members. Brothers, this time I admit my mistake. This won't happen again. I am the second overlord to upgrade my territory. Although I didn't get the reward of the floating island, it doesn't matter. My development speed has already surpassed the majority of overlords. I believe that I can lead the Hall of Kings to glory. Defeat Lin Yu and restore our honor. I won't make a similar mistake a second time. Please believe in me. 9%. Chapter 52 Sha Qingyu and the Ice and Snow Dragon. Golden Behemoth Overlord will not make the same mistake again, and in reality, not many people care. Because the current alliances themselves lack cohesion. The professionals on the island are generally only at level 1. Even professionals like Golden Behemoth Overlord are only at level 2, about to reach level 3. All professionals are still at the bottom of the floating island, so talking about glory and looking to the future at this time is purely self-indulgent. The wilderness world is still dominated by monsters and indigenous intelligent races. And the professionals on the island are still in a difficult situation. Professionals joining alliances are just joining in for the fun. After all, fundamentally speaking, the current alliances cannot provide any help to them. For example, seeking help from the alliance in times of danger. Is it useful? Completely useless. And currently, the alliances do not have any headquarters, let alone strong individuals overseeing them, so they naturally cannot establish bonds with alliance members. In summary, the current alliances have little significance. At least for ordinary professionals, whether there is an alliance or not makes no difference. Only when their strength improves and professionals start stepping into high level, king level, or even transcendent levels, and can explore and establish careers on the floating island, will the alliance have substantial significance. Because of this, ordinary professionals will not truly pledge their loyalty to any alliance. They join or leave as they please. If they can't join, they can just be lone wolves, without any loss. They have a very high degree of freedom. And this is why when Golden Behemoth Overlord encountered trouble, there were a large number of alliance members leaving the alliance. Furthermore, the neighboring alliance had an apex level overlord who was a great beauty and also the alliance leader, so naturally, there were even more professionals leaving the alliance. It couldn't be stopped. Even if Golden Behemoth Overlord spontaneously issued a decree of guilt and talked until his mouth was dry, it still couldn't stop this wave of leaving the alliance. In just one afternoon, tens of thousands of professionals left the Hall of Kings. In fact, the vast majority of those who left the alliance did indeed join Midsummer Night. A great beauty plus alliance leader plus apex level overlord. These three attractions combined were quite appealing. And as the second largest alliance on the island, Midsummer Night already had a considerable number of members. With this increase, the number of members in the Midsummer Night Alliance almost surpassed the Hall of Kings, becoming the new strongest professional alliance on the island. As for now, the two alliances are on par as the strongest. Sha Qingyu, you really did it. I just twisted my ankle at Lin Yu's place, and you came over to cut my hand. Well done. Golden Behemoth Overlord opened the friends list and angrily looked for Sha Qingyu, the leader of Midsummer Night. He wanted to vent his anger on someone. Since Lin Yu had blocked him, he could only turn to Sha Qingyu, who had undermined him. Not long after, Sha Qingyu on the other side sent a message. This has nothing to do with me. It's your inability to control your alliance members. You should look for the reasons within yourself. The cold reply made Golden Behemoth Overlord even angrier. Fine, you win this time. But the days ahead are still long, and one day you will fall into my hands. And that guy surnamed Lin, I will make him pay for what he did today. The message was sent, but after waiting for a long time, there was no reply. Golden Behemoth Overlord mentality exploded again, cursing loudly, you didn't even reply to my message. Damn Sha Qingyu, you better pray that you don't fall into my hands. The floating island is not like Blue Star. Blue Star has laws and a national machinery. But the floating island is a lawless world. As long as one's strength is strong enough, they can do anything they want but dare not do in this world. The situation is not yet so severe that it is irreparable. At least the Hall of Kings has not completely collapsed, and I still have a chance to rise again. In addition, my territory has successfully upgraded, and I have dozens of golden behemoths under my command. Compared to the vast majority of Overlord professionals, I am still ahead. I have not lost yet. Next, I will develop my territory while revitalizing the Hall of Kings. I must not let Sha Qingyu's plot succeed. Oh, and I still have to repay the debt. Golden Behemoth Overlord felt a tingling sensation on his scalp. The debt he owed within the alliance amounted to 4,800 gold coins, plus 10% interest. He must repay all the principal and interest within 2 weeks. Otherwise, it would be considered a breach of contract. He couldn't imagine what would happen if he violated the loan agreement signed under the witness of the rules of the floating island. The floating island would surely take action against him. They might even seize his golden behemoth and sell it to repay the debt. All of this is Lin Yu's fault. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be in such a miserable state. He didn't mind the huge debt on his back, it was his own choice. The key issue was that he didn't gain anything from it, which was the most frustrating part. And the fact that he lost all his reputation in the alliance and countless professionals left the alliance to join Sha Qingyu made him even angrier. A vast range of mountains stretched endlessly. There was a territory located there, but the exact coordinates were unknown. This territory belonged to Sha Qingyu, the leader of Midsummer Night. Like all Overlord professionals, Sha Qingyu always stayed in her own territory and didn't venture into the outside world to take risks. I have overestimated you. In the Hall of the Overlord, a graceful figure whispered. She had a graceful figure and a delicate and beautiful face. Her eyes were like autumn water. Her lips were plump, and her skin was fair and snowy. Her figure was curvaceous, with prominent curves and towering peaks when viewed from the side. Looking at the irritable words appearing in her friend's message, Sha Qingyu shook her head and said, even if this incident of leaving the alliance has something to do with me, a normal person wouldn't send threatening messages. Such threats are not only meaningless, but they will also attract hatred. At this moment, Sha Qingyu's level of concern for the Golden Behemoth Overlord had decreased by 1 level. The opponent I really need to pay attention to is Lin Yu. Although Lin Yu hasn't formed an alliance and is alone, it doesn't matter to him at all. With Lin Yu's popularity on the island, as long as he is willing to form an alliance, countless professionals will flock to him and strive to join him. This is the unique appeal of Lin Yu. Lin Yu will undoubtedly become the biggest obstacle for all Overlord professionals to compete for the position of Island Lord. Undeniably, his strength is indeed very strong. Even beyond my imagination. Today is the 3rd day since Lin Yu arrived on the floating island, and his troops were able to capture a stronghold of a local force. Just this alone, Sha Qingyu admitted that she couldn't do it. No rush, take it slow. This is just the beginning of the transcendent path. The future is still long. These words from Sha Qingyu. They were both comforting herself and encouraging herself. After all, without a good mentality, how could she catch up with the footsteps of Lord Lin Yu? I wonder which city Lin Yu is from. I'll have to inquire about it when I return to Blue Star. Sha Qingyu had always wanted to add Lin Yu as a friend. She did send a friend request, but it was ignored. This made her feel helpless. Leaving the hall of the Overlord, Sha Qingyu looked towards a small square not far away. Following her gaze, there was a giant dragon lying there, completely ice blue in color. The dragon was less than 20 meters in size. And its level was only 4. Obviously, it was a young dragon. Moreover, there were many wounds visible on the dragon's body, some of which were even deep enough to see the bones. Seeing this scene, Sha Qingyu sighed. Although my frost dragon is also an apex level unit and has the advantage of flight, its level is too low, and the racial talent of the dragon race has not been strengthened. If it encounters an 8th or 9th level powerhouse, it would be a living target. So what if it can fly? With the power of a high-level professional, a spear could shoot her dragon down from the sky. That's why she didn't dare to provoke the local force stronghold. At the same time, Sha Qingyu couldn't imagine what kind of unit Lin Yu had. It seemed that her frost dragon was not enough in front of Lin Yu's unit. After all, the frost dragon was a pure-blooded dragon race unit. And among all apex-level units, pure-blooded dragons could rank among the top. What kind of unit could be stronger than a pure-blooded dragon? 9%. Chapter 53 Lin Yu's demonic plant and blackbone blood vine. Lin Yu is unaware of what happened in the Hall of Kings. He is busy with his civil engineering construction in his territory. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care. The fate of the Hall of Kings, whether it prospers or declines, has nothing to do with him. At least until the formal war for the position of Island Lord begins, he will only care about his own affairs. Developing the territory and strengthening his power are his top priorities. After an hour, Lin Yu finally finished the civil engineering work in his hands. 3 blueprint designs for arrow towers, 9 arrow towers. 5 blueprint designs for wooden houses, 50 wooden houses. The amount of work is not large. The main time-consuming part was choosing the construction locations. Compared to that, the construction itself was much quicker and easier. He only needed to prepare the necessary basic resources, and the floating island would build the structures. All the wooden houses will be built in the western and southern areas of the territory, surrounding the small square in a fan-shaped manner. These 2 areas will be the residential areas of my territory in the future. When the territory develops and conditions permit, I will turn the eastern area into a commercial street. As for the northern area, it will be the core area of my territory, where the territory hall and various important buildings will be located. In the future, unauthorized entry is prohibited for non-important individuals. Except for angels. Angels are Lin Yu's exclusive troops in the territory. Not only are they devoted and loyal to Lin Yu, but they are also beautiful and attractive. These creatures, who are both beautiful and loyal, they will receive special treatment from Lin Yu. In addition, the newly built 9 arrow towers will surround the territory. The village-level territory only has one entrance, which is located near the spiritual field. 3 arrow towers have already been built there. So, the 9 arrow towers we are building this time will be evenly distributed around the territory. Their task is to shoot down wild monsters that enter the nearby area and prevent them from damaging the fences behind the arrow towers. However, 9 arrow towers are still too few. The radiation area does not cover the entire boundary of the territory. I still need to build more arrow towers around the territory, just in case. The overlords on the island are not living a difficult life, but a comfortable one. With the protection of the territory, they don't have to worry about their own safety at all. Unlike those combat professionals who have to endure the elements and constantly worry about being attacked by wild monsters, to the point of losing their lives on the spot. However, once the territory upgrades to a town, this comfortable life will no longer exist. Instead, it will immediately enter a hellish level of resistance. At that time, the rule power of the floating island will no longer protect the overlord's territories. Moreover, the floating island will release a war signal to the nearby area, including wild monsters and local intelligent races. Then, countless waves of wild monsters will attack. There will also be local intelligent races, fully armed and leading their armies. Including but not limited to tribal-level forces and kingdom-level forces. The common goal of these wild monsters and local intelligent races is to completely destroy the overlords' territories and tear the overlords themselves into pieces. Although most of the overlords' territories are currently only low-level villages, it is still far from upgrading to a town. But that day will come eventually. Any overlord who is negligent in development and harbors a lucky mentality will undoubtedly die in this hellish level of resistance. Lin Yu is no exception. So, despite being recognized as the strongest overlord on the island, he is still working hard to develop his power and strengthen the defensive forces of his territory. He is not worried about the waves of wild monsters. Nor is he worried about tribal-level local intelligent races. These are his hunting targets. What he needs to be vigilant about are the kingdom-level local forces. Those kinds of forces may mobilize tens of thousands of regular troops, and their combat power is bound to be extremely terrifying. And in this jungle, there are 4 such transcendent level forces. Among them, the giant kingdom is the closest to his territory. The defensive strength of the territory must be continuously strengthened. However, passive defense is not my ultimate goal. Taking the initiative to attack is what a qualified overlord should do. Muttering to himself, Lin Yu opened the glory contribution ranking. On the list, his name was at the top. With 300 glory points, he firmly held the first place. He was the only one on the list. The second place was still uncertain. Lin Yu opened the glory contribution ranking, not to admire his dominance on the list, but to exchange items in the glory menu. 300 glory points were just enough to exchange for something he desired. Opening the glory menu, it was still filled with a dazzling array of various goods. There were also numerous rare items. Even divine weapons were just one of them. Unfortunately, most of the items were currently beyond Lin Yu's affordability. He could only feast his eyes on them. Soon, Lin Yu found what he wanted to exchange for this time, the Blackbone Bloodvine, Chapter 38. Yes, this time he wanted to exchange for this demonic plant. When he first opened the glory item menu, he had set his sights on this Blackbone Bloodvine, which was worth exactly 300 glory points. Other demonic plants like the blue-silver grass, man-eating demon flower, and gecko grass were all worth 100 glory points, which he could have exchanged for before, but he didn't find any of them appealing. There was also the immortal flower, worth 2,000 glory points. He was interested, but couldn't afford it. Blackbone Bloodvine belongs to the vine-type demonic plant category. Grade: Gold. Growth period: 90 days. Growth potential: King level. Introduction: a relatively rare demonic plant that mainly grows in the land of the deceased. Blood and bones are its favorites, and it belongs to the evil demonic plant lineage. Note 1. Providing enough blood and bones can accelerate its growth rate. Note 2. This is a demonic plant that can continuously evolve, provided you feed it high-quality food. Blackbone Bloodvine quote: "If I could taste the flavor of a god, even the immortal flower would be my little brother." The reason Lin Yu wanted to exchange for the Blackbone Bloodvine was because of its ability to continuously evolve. Moreover, the 90-day growth period of the Blackbone Bloodvine could be shortened by feeding it a large amount of blood and bones. Currently, he had 6 hunting teams under his command. Every day, they could hunt numerous monsters in the wilderness, thus obtaining a large amount of blood and bones. In fact, after the decomposition of monster corpses, many things could be obtained, including edible beast meat, monster materials, an indefinite amount of blood, seemingly useless bones, and filthy monster organs. Before this, Lin Yu would collect beast meat and monster materials and store them in the warehouse. As for blood, bones, and monster organs, the goblin believers would take them and throw them into the wilderness to avoid the territory being too bloody. Now, with the Blackbone Bloodvine, the blood, bones, and organs that were decomposed had a purpose. They would all be given to the Blackbone Bloodvine to consume. This not only protected the environment around the territory but also achieved the effect of waste utilization. At the same time, it could accelerate the growth of the Blackbone Bloodvine. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Lin Yu had already thought it through and didn't hesitate at all. At the cost of consuming 300 glory points, he exchanged for the Blackbone Bloodvine. Suddenly, the void cracked open. A thin vine, about a dozen centimeters long, dropped from the crack. The main stem and branches of the vine were pitch black, like ink, but there was a faint glimmer of blood within, giving off an evil feeling. This was the sapling of the Blackbone Bloodvine. Demonic plants needed to be cultivated. Lin Yu immediately went outside the territory and passed through the defense barrier of the spirit field. He planted the sapling of the black bone blood vine. As soon as it entered the soil, the black bone blood vine showed strong vitality. The whole plant began to wriggle, like a red and black snake. Strive to mature the black bone blood vine before returning to the blue star. The black bone blood vine has the combat power of a king-level professional when it matures. It's very suitable to be my ace bodyguard. Unlike intelligent creatures, demonic plants could sign magical contracts and be brought to the blue star without any cost. This was the information Lin Yu obtained from the Myriad Worlds floating island. 9%. Chapter 54. Let it eat to its heart's content. Lin Yu is standing at the forefront. The spiritual fields of the territory are divided into the cultivation area and the breeding area. In the cultivation area, crops such as spirit rice, demon plants, and magic herbs can be planted. The breeding area can be used to breed various wild monsters. Before the arrival of the floating island, Lin Yu's classmates shouted that they wanted to raise fat pigs on the floating island, using the function of the breeding area. The wild world of the floating island is filled with countless wild boar monsters. By capturing the wild boar monsters and placing them in the breeding area, one can fulfill the dream of becoming a pig farm owner. However, Lin Yu is not interested in such a dream at all. Even if he were to raise animals, he would raise pure-blooded dragons on the floating island. The seedling of the blackbone bloodvine was planted by Lin Yu in a corner of the cultivation area. This is to prevent the blood, bones, and filthy internal organs of the monsters from contaminating other cultivation areas, which would be detrimental to the cultivation of spirit rice or magic herbs in the future. Under Lin Yu's summoning, over 100 goblin disciples in the territory gathered. They threw a large amount of decomposed blood, bones, and internal organs into the corner where the blackbone bloodvine was located. It seemed as if they smelled the sweet scent of blood. The twisting of the blackbone bloodvine seedling became even more intense. Then, smaller branches extended from the main body of the blackbone bloodvine seedling, like tentacles, piercing into the food. It greedily absorbed the blood. It voraciously devoured the bones and internal organs of the monsters. For the blackbone bloodvine, all these useless things decomposed from the monster corpses are delicious delicacies. Of course, it would be even better if it were whole monster corpses. Unfortunately, Lin Yu still needs to decompose monster corpses to obtain edible meat and monster materials for crafting equipment. At this stage, he is not yet able to spare whole monster corpses to cultivate the blackbone bloodvine seedlings. However, even the decomposed things are enough for the blackbone bloodvine seedlings to have a good meal. After all, there is a large quantity, and among them are remnants of middle-level monsters and high-level monsters. For the blackbone bloodvine, these are all high-quality food that can greatly accelerate its growth. Indeed, in less than 10 minutes, the blackbone bloodvine seedling grew to over 30 centimeters tall. The main stem became thicker, and there were more branches. Before planting, it was only a little over 10 centimeters tall. This growth is visible to the naked eye. Lin Yu is also very satisfied with this and turned to the goblin disciples in the territory, saying, "In the future, bring all the decomposed monster blood, bones, and internal organs here to cultivate the blackbone bloodvine. Also, pick up all the bones that were discarded these past 2 days. Although they may have deteriorated, I believe the blackbone bloodvine won't mind." In a corner of the spiritual field, the blackbone bloodvine seedling swayed in the wind, continuously waving its small tendrils, as if responding to Lin Yu's words. "Yes, Overlord." The goblin disciples nodded in unison, expressing that they will take good care of the blackbone bloodvine seedling. In their eyes, there is also a strong admiration for Lin Yu. Demon plants are extremely rare. The goblin tribe has developed for so many years, but they have not found any cultivable demon plants. On the other hand, their overlord easily produced a seemingly rare and powerful demon plant. It's truly amazing. Indeed, the great god is capable of anything. Back in the territory, Lin Yu suddenly felt like he had nothing to do. The sound of hammering from the blacksmith's shop continued incessantly. Under the leadership of middle-level blacksmith, Goblin Dewin, one piece of finished equipment after another was being crafted. In addition to 2 low-level goblin blacksmiths assisting, there were also over a dozen young goblins observing and learning on the side. These young goblins are all very excited. In the past, when he was in the tribe, old Goblin Dewin never allowed others to observe his process of crafting equipment. He kept the equipment crafting technique tightly to himself. If it weren't for the Goblin Chief's insistence, old Goblin wouldn't even take on an apprentice. Nowadays, they have the opportunity to learn the technique and become blacksmiths, so naturally they are extremely excited. Every young goblin is very serious, because they know that this is their chance to change their destiny. By becoming the territory's blacksmiths, they can craft equipment for the great overlord and gain recognition, and even receive rewards from the gods. 2 or 3 hours have passed, and the blacksmith shop has already produced over 10 pieces of equipment. Most of them are second or third grade. Lin Yu plans to accumulate more equipment before putting them up for sale on the island's trading platform. He believes that it will definitely shake the entire floating island and attract countless combat professionals to compete for them. After all, equipment is still a scarce resource at this stage. Most of the combat professionals on the island still only have the beginner equipment given by the floating island, simply because the drop rate of equipment is very low. The mass listing of equipment will naturally cause a sensation. Of course, what Lin Yu cares most about is the price of the equipment. He plans to price the second grade equipment at 50 gold coins, and the third grade equipment at 100 gold coins. If there is a supreme grade equipment, the price will double. Actually, these prices are not low, and can even be considered high, just slightly lower than the auction price. Equipment is currently in high demand, so selling at a high price is normal. When other overlord professionals also have their own blacksmith shops, all kinds of equipment will appear in large quantities on the island's trading platform. At that time, the price of low-level equipment may directly drop to single digits. Right now, Lin Yu can be said to be at the forefront. He can pick up money even with his eyes closed. He wants to take advantage of the fact that the blacksmith shop has not yet become popular, and through the mass sale of various low-level equipment, make himself rich and summon a large number of angels to sweep the world with his own power. A massive army of angels is necessary for that. Outside the territory, from time to time, a team of goblin disciples returns. They are returning from the battlefields of the wilderness. On their backs, they carry the bodies of one wild monster after another, and pile them up in the small square of the territory, waiting for the next decomposition. The hunting work of the 6 teams is going very smoothly. The bodies of the monsters are continuously brought back. The decomposition work is also ongoing. Almost every period of time, the warehouse will have a lot more reserves of meat and monster materials. As for the remaining blood, bones, and monster organs from the decomposition, they are all thrown into the spirit field, allowing the saplings of the black bone blood vine to feast on them. At the same time, Lin Yu himself can also sense a large amount of primal force converging towards him. When there were fewer troops a few days ago, his leveling speed was very slow. Compared to Ayata and Sally's promotions, his progress was truly slow as a snail. But now it's different. The 6 teams are hunting wildly in the wilderness. They are killing a large number of wild monsters every moment. This means that even though his level has already reached the 4th level of the middle-level professional stage, he can still feel a rapid increase in his own strength. Perhaps tonight, he will be able to step into the late stage of the 4th level. And tomorrow, he will promote to the 5th level. The goal of becoming a 7th level professional is within reach. 9%. Chapter 55 Greyland Dwarf Tribe. Supreme Decree. In the southeast direction of Lin Yu's territory, about 6 kilometers away, there is a mountain several hundred meters high. Even from Lin Yu's perspective in his territory, he can see a faint outline of the mountain. And this is the location of the Grey Earth Dwarf Tribe. Unlike the goblins who build their tribes in flat mountains and forests, the Grey Earth Dwarves hide inside this mountain. The Grey Earth Dwarves are best at digging caves. They don't like sunlight and prefer to live in dark caves. They only come out of the caves when they need food, usually in the evening. During the day and late at night, the Grey Earth Dwarves mostly stay in their caves. The Grey Earth Dwarves are a branch of the Dwarf tribe. But compared to the orthodox Dwarf tribe, the Grey Earth Dwarves are lazy and extremely timid. They have even forgotten the equipment forging techniques passed down through generations of the Dwarf tribe. You see, the Dwarf tribe is known for their expertise in crafting equipment. However, the Grey Earth Dwarves have lost the ability and talent to forge equipment. This is a shame for the Dwarf tribe. If it were the proud and arrogant Elven tribe, they would have long expelled such a shameful branch, just like they did with the Dark Elves. But the Dwarves are straightforward and don't hold grudges. Otherwise, the Grey Earth Dwarves might even lose the title of Dwarf. But even so, some intelligent races refer to the Grey Earth Dwarves as timid cave dwarves, and do not consider them a branch of the orthodox Dwarf tribe. Suddenly, a sneaky figure appeared at the foot of the mountain. He moved like a ghost through the dense jungle. Finally, he arrived at the base of a large tree that required several people to encircle. The figure looked around and then climbed up the tree very agilely, reaching a dark tree hole. Without hesitation, the figure went straight into the tree hole and disappeared. Following the figure through the straight downward tree hole, he entered an underground passage with a diameter of about 1.5 meters. The underground passage twisted and turned. There were many branching tunnels along the way. But most of these branching tunnels were dead ends and filled with traps. Only one tunnel was the real passage. And this passage led to the heart of the mountain, the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe. After who knows how long, the ghost-like figure finally passed through the winding underground passage and entered a cavern with a very large area. The cavern was located inside the mountain and never saw daylight. It should have been cold and damp, but the actual situation was dry and warm. And there was airflow flowing. This indicated that there were other vents leading to the surface world. The interior of the cavern was not dark either because there were a large number of luminescent objects embedded in the surrounding walls, resembling crystals. And the largest light source in the cavern was located in the center. There, the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe was situated. Inside and outside the tribe, there were a large number of oil lamps and torches burning. The released light was reflected by countless crystals, ultimately illuminating the entire cavern. The Grey Earth Dwarves simply dislike glaring sunlight, but they haven't evolved to the point where they can live in the dark world without obstacles, so they still need the help of light sources. The ghost-like figure moved quickly. Finally, he entered the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe. Chief. The figure rushed into the hall of the tribe like a big black rat. But then slipped and fell to the ground with a thud. Ignoring the pain, the figure immediately got up and exclaimed, "Chief, something big has happened." Sitting on the throne at the head of the hall was the old chief of the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe. He looked at the panicked tribesmen and frowned. "Speak if there's something to say, why make such a fuss? Even if the sky is falling, I'll bear it." The old chief's expression was very calm, showing a steady composure as if Mount Tai collapsed without changing his expression. However, he was secretly wondering if the thieves from the two-headed ogre tribe had come. The indigenous intelligent races on the floating island are not living in peace and harmony. Previously, the goblin tribe had often been bullied by the two-headed ogre tribe. The Grey Dwarf tribe is the same. However, compared to the goblin tribe, the Grey Dwarf tribe is in a slightly better situation. Because their tribe is hidden in the mountains, they can largely avoid being harassed by the two-headed demon tribe. It can only be said that in the world of indigenous intelligent races, the strong are respected. The weak will always be bullied by the strong. If they resist, killing and extermination are common occurrences. "Chief, it's like this." The Grey Dwarf in the hall said with a frightened expression, "When I was out hunting, I passed by the goblin tribe." "Who allowed you to leave the tribe during the day?" The old chief suddenly interrupted the Grey Dwarf's words and scolded him angrily. "Chief, I'm sorry." The Grey Dwarf shrank his head in fear and quickly returned to the main topic. "I heard very intense fighting sounds inside the goblin tribe, but I didn't dare to get close. It wasn't until the fighting sounds disappeared for a long time that I dared to approach stealthily. Chief, guess what I saw?" The old chief immediately glared at him. The Grey Dwarf hurriedly said, "I saw that the goblin tribe was completely gone. The entire tribe's buildings turned into ruins, and all the goblins disappeared. In the end, I only found some goblin corpses in that pile of ruins. The owners of those corpses were all very powerful in their lifetime. The lowest was a level 6 goblin warrior. There was even an 8th level goblin commander among them." What? Upon hearing this, the old chief of the Grey Dwarf tribe finally couldn't hold steady. The goblin tribe was actually wiped out. The tribe turned into ruins, and the strong warriors in the tribe died in battle. It must be an extermination. But the problem is, who in this forest area can wipe out a force of nearly 1,000 people with a level 9 professional in a short period of time? The culprit must be the two-headed demon tribe. The old chief said with hatred, "Apart from those greedy monsters with 2 heads, no other force can raise the goblin tribe to the ground. Among this area, the two-headed demon tribe is the most powerful. There are indeed more powerful tribes in other areas. But it's not worth it to specifically come here to wipe out a small goblin tribe." "Chief, I don't think so." The old chief glanced at him with a slightly angry expression. The Grey Dwarf hurriedly said, "It's like this, Chief. There is a strong holy and radiant magical aura in the ruins of the goblin tribe. The evil two-headed demons are not worthy of possessing such magic. Holy and radiant power. Yes, Chief. What about the other goblins in the tribe? I don't know. The gray dwarf shook his head and said, there are no bodies, no more blood, as if those goblins were captured at an extremely fast speed and taken away. I see. The old chief sitting on the throne took a deep breath. Spread the word, all the high-ranking members of the tribe gather in the conference hall. Yes, chief. The gray dwarf quickly complied and was about to leave. He turned back cautiously and asked, Chief, do you know who destroyed the goblin tribe? Most likely it's an overlord from another world. The old chief's expression became serious as he said, if my guess is correct, then war is imminent. After the goblin tribe's destruction, it will be our turn next. Upon hearing this, the gaze of the gray dwarf immediately became dull. This is only the third day, right? Are those overlords from another world developing so fast? After all, they are creatures from another world, and cannot be measured by common sense. Quote. Not daring to ask any more questions, the gray dwarf left the tribe hall anxiously. Soon, the high-ranking members of the tribe gathered. Shortly after, a war mobilization order spread throughout the entire gray dwarf tribe. Every gray dwarf in the tribe armed themselves as much as possible. Although they were timid, cowardly, and lazy, when facing enemies from another world, they had to raise their weapons. Because this was the decree of the supreme rule. 10%. Chapter 56 The Dedicated Four-Winged Grand Angel. In the afternoon, the sun was slanting westward. The jungle, which had been exposed to the sun all day, felt somewhat stuffy. On the second floor of the Hall of the Overlord, there was a partitioned bedroom. Lin Yu was lying comfortably in a large wooden tub. It had been 2 or 3 days since he arrived on the floating island, and this was his first bath. Previously, it was due to limited conditions. Now, this problem had been solved. The wooden tub was carved from a large tree that goblin believers had cut down in the outside world. A goblin blacksmith had spent more than 10 minutes polishing the inside and outside of the tub. The bathwater also came from a mountain spring in the forest. It was heated to a lukewarm temperature. A certain kind of berry juice was added to help clean the dirt off the body. The diligent goblin believers also sprinkled a dozen flower petals, adding a hint of fragrance. It had to be said that goblin believers were really useful. Overlord life in the early stages is indeed very comfortable. Lin Yu lay back in the tub, his hands resting on the edge of the tub. A look of enjoyment on his face. At this moment, the combat professionals on the island were still fighting for their lives with monsters in the outside world. If it got any later, when night fell, they would have to hurry to find shelter. By comparing the two, one could see how comfortable Lin Yu's life was. If this were to spread, it would surely make countless combat professionals envious and jealous. But this is only the early stage. The closer it gets to a small town-level territory, the greater the pressure on the overlord. If you want to maintain this comfortable life on the island, you must work harder and ensure that external factors cannot threaten the safety of the territory. Otherwise, you won't even be able to sleep peacefully, let alone take a bath. As he spoke, a petite young female goblin with hot water came over. Lin Yu did not stop her, his eyes half closed, just enjoying himself. Unconsciously, he fell asleep like that. The young female goblin did not dare to disturb him. After changing the hot water, she quietly left the bedroom. But before leaving, the young female goblin still carefully glanced at Lin Yu with an admiring gaze. Oh God, radiating dazzling brilliance at all times, even when bathing and sleeping. It seemed like she thought of something. The young female goblin looked at her own greenish skin with some disdain. The skin of a god was beautiful, crystal clear, rosy, and shiny. It was unknown how much time had passed. Lin Yu heard a faint sound of footsteps in a daze. He woke up. Opening his eyes, he saw a beautiful four-winged angel standing by the bed in the bedroom, gently placing a stack of clothes neatly. This four-winged angel was none other than his subordinate, four-winged Grand Angel Elena. Compared to the heroic and cool Maureen and Myralda, Elena, who was skilled in divine magic, appeared more gentle and beautiful. Master, Elena called out softly, as if she hadn't expected Lin Yu to suddenly wake up. Immediately, she hurriedly lowered her head and respectfully said, "To my lord, it is now evening, and all 6 teams that were hunting outside have returned to the territory." Is it already evening? Lin Yu stretched lazily in the tub. The water in the tub was still warm, without a hint of coolness. Obviously, someone was changing the bathwater for him from time to time. It is worth mentioning that he was now a middle-level professional with a very strong physical fitness. If it were his previous ordinary person's physique, After soaking in the water for so long, his skin would definitely turn into a sponge. At this moment, four-winged Grand Angel Elena suddenly walked over. Master, let me help you. Help me with what? Lin Yu looked at Elena with a puzzled expression. Elena lowered her beautiful cheek, her long eyelashes fluttered slightly, and said, you haven't become a god yet, so it's normal for your body to get dirty. Once you have a divine body, the dust of the mundane world will no longer be able to approach you. Quote. This topic made Lin Yu momentarily unsure how to respond. At this moment, he suddenly felt a pair of incredibly soft hands touching him, gently rubbing his back. Damn, Lin Yu was dumbfounded. Is Elena trying to give him a massage? His gaze became slightly dazed, never expecting that one day he would reach the point where an angel would give him a massage. No, it shouldn't be called a massage. Massages are too vulgar. It should be cleaning the dust off his body, removing the dirt from his skin. Forget it, let's just call it a massage, it's easier to understand. Feeling the soft hands on his back, Lin Yu suddenly felt a bit flustered. Just as he was about to speak, Elena whispered, it is an honor for every angel to serve the Lord. Her voice and actions were filled with gentleness, without a trace of strangeness. As she said, serving the Lord of Holy Light was the angel's duty, including but not limited to giving massages. Upon hearing this, Lin Yu was speechless once again. Fortunately, he didn't say anything more and closed his eyes, enjoying the massage provided by the beautiful four-winged Grand Angel. Throughout the entire process, Elena's expression on her exquisite face didn't change much, always maintaining an incredibly devout demeanor. This also calmed Lin Yu's inner world. No more wandering thoughts. Finally, after who knows how long, Lin Yu got out of the bathtub. He felt a kind of unprecedented relaxation all over his body, from the inside out. Then, under the service of four-winged Grand Angel Elena, Lin Yu put on the clean clothes and casually asked, Elena, don't angels need to bathe? No need, Elena replied while gently adjusting Lin Yu's collar. We angels are born as sacred beings, untainted by the dust of the world. And the angelic attire we wear also has the effect of purifying worldly impurities. Upon hearing this, Lin Yu, for some reason, said, sometimes taking a bath is still very comfortable. I understand, great lord, Elena nodded earnestly. Lin Yu, on the other hand, was puzzled. What did this four-winged Grand Angel understand? On the first floor of the Hall of the Overlord, there were piles of gold coins. At a glance, the number was staggering. A total of 769 coins. This was an astonishing harvest. Apart from the proceeds from the auction, Lin Yu had never received so many gold coins at once. Moreover, all these coins were dropped by monsters. It can be imagined how many wild monsters Lin Yu's 6 hunting teams had killed today. A rough estimate would be at least 5,000 or more. In addition to the gold coins, there were also 6 pieces of equipment and 2 blueprints piled up nearby. It can only be said that the drop rate of equipment and blueprints was pitifully low. Outside the main hall, a large number of figures had already gathered in the nearby square. These figures were divided into 2 camps. On one side were the beautiful angels radiating holy light, numbering over 200. On the other side were the goblin soldiers and goblin believers, numbering over 1,000. The goblins remained quiet, not daring to make a sound. The angels, on the other hand, were whispering in unison, praying to the Lord. When Lin Yu walked out of the Hall of the Overlord, the angels immediately stopped praying and, led by four-winged angel Maureen and Myralda, came forward to bow respectfully to Lin Yu. Ayata and Sally, along with other 2 winged angels, were also among them. Their levels had already reached the late stage of level 7. They could be promoted to level 8 at any time. However, they still stood behind Maureen and Myralda. This was because the hierarchy of angels was very strict. Position represented status. As 2 winged angels, no matter how high their level or strength, they could not surpass 4 winged angels. This was the hierarchy. Therefore, Lin Yu also looked forward to Ayata and Sally breaking through themselves, evolving into high-ranking angels, so that they could also have a place in the future Angel Legion. If they remained as 2 winged angels, even if Lin Yu made them commanders, they would not be able to command their subordinates. After all, they were the first angels summoned. Lin Yu still had great expectations and special feelings for Ayata and Sally. Great Lord, 4-winged angel Myralda respectfully said to Lin Yu, the angelic squad is fully equipped and their magic power has been restored. They are ready to go hunting at any time. At this moment, the outside world was already covered in pitch-black darkness. But the angels were not afraid. They were even eager to purify the undead creatures hidden in the darkness. 10%. Chapter 57 Attack the Darkness Again. New four-winged angel Maddie. Other races may fear undead creatures. But angels do not. Angels, belonging to the holy and luminous camp, are the nemesis of undead creatures and all evil forces. The angelic race is not only skilled in spreading faith, but also in purifying evil powers. Lin Yu is well aware of this. Therefore, he did not refuse the request of the four-winged angel, Myrlda. Moreover, there are more monsters in the wilderness at night than during the day. As long as they can hold on, there will definitely be great rewards. Myrlda, Maureen, Elena. Each of you will lead your own angel squad to the wilderness and engage in battle with the enemy. However, you must pay attention to the abnormal situations around you. Lin Yu said, last night, the sound of battle attracted the skeleton king, Lane. He is a king-level skeleton boss and is very powerful. So, you must always be aware of your surroundings. If the skeleton king, Lane, appears again, you must immediately retreat to our territory. These 3 four-winged angels under his command were just summoned recently and are only at level 7. It is no problem for them to kill level 9 monsters. But it is still very difficult to kill the skeleton king, Lane, who is a king-level boss. To avoid unnecessary losses, it is best not to confront the skeleton king, Lane, head-on at this stage. After all, the skeleton king, Lane, is not alone. Under its command, there are many high-level undead creatures. It is a tough nut to crack. They need to wait for the angels to reach level 9 before they can crush it. We obey, Lord Overlord. Elena, Maureen, and Myrlda all respectfully responded. Then, the four-winged angel, Myrlda, said again, Lord Overlord, rest assured, we will send scouts to monitor the surroundings while hunting outside, and we will never let the squad fall into a dangerous situation. Very well. Lin Yu nodded and looked at the goblin troops gathered not far away, as well as the 200 elite goblin believers led by the level 8 goblin commander, Bard. Bard, you will also accompany the angel squad on their expedition. But remember, the goblin troops must always stay near the angel squad and cooperate in battle. The wilderness at night is more dangerous than during the day. I don't want to see any goblin warriors sacrifice in vain. We understand, Lord Overlord. Bard, the goblin commander, and the others nodded quickly. The powerful saints can not only protect them, but the holy and luminous powers they possess can greatly help them hunt undead creatures in the darkness and improve their efficiency in killing monsters. Soon, a large number of angels and elite goblins poured out of the territory. There were 3 fully equipped angel squads and 2 elite goblin teams. In today's daytime hunting, there were goblin warriors sacrificed in both goblin teams. After all, the goblin warriors are low level and their combat power cannot be compared to the angels. It is normal for there to be sacrifices. However, the number of goblins killed in battle is not large, totaling less than 10, which is not significant. As for the angels, none of them died. Of course, even if they die, it doesn't matter. Angels are different from other intelligent races and exclusive troops of other territories. They are sacred beings born from the angel reincarnation pool, and have the angel's heart that contains their souls and the source of magic power. Once an angel dies, their angel's heart will return to the territory. During this time, Lin Yu can revive the dead angel by spending gold coins. The amount of gold coins required to revive an angel is half of the summoning price. This information was obtained by Lin Yu after communicating with the Myriad Worlds floating island. For example, if Ida dies on the battlefield, Lin Yu can help Ida revive by using 25 gold coins. However, this kind of resurrection is not without other costs. The revived angel will return to their initial level. Ida's initial level is 5. After resurrection, she will have to start hunting monsters in the wilderness again to reach her current level, which is like starting over. So, it is best not to sacrifice if possible. My lord, what about us? 3 four-winged angels led the team outside. Meanwhile, over 52 winged angels, including Ida and Sally, stayed behind. Because they did not receive any mission instructions from the Lord of Holy Light. At this moment, Ida, Sally, and the other beautiful angels were all eagerly looking at Lin Yu. They also wanted to go out hunting and contribute to the territory of the Lord of Holy Light. Please wait for a moment, Lin Yu said to Ida and the others. I will summon another 4-winged angel later, and some of you will join her angel squad. Originally, the angel squad led by Ida and Sally consisted of 58 2-winged angels. When they returned to the territory in the evening, four-winged Grand Angel Elena took one of the two winged angels from the team to fill the gap in her own angel squad. In other words, the squads under the command of the three four-winged angels were now at full strength. As for the remaining 57 two-winged angels, there were still too many. So Lin Yu planned to summon another four-winged angel to form the fourth fully equipped angel squad. Yes, my lord, Ayata and the others breathed a sigh of relief. As long as they were not prohibited from going out hunting, it didn't matter whether a new angel squad was formed or not. Then, Lin Yu returned to the Hall of the Overlord. The floor of the hall was still piled with a large amount of gold coins, as well as several pieces of equipment and blueprints. The spoils of war were handed over to him, the Overlord. No one dared to touch them except for him. Today's hunting yield is 769 gold coins. Adding the 36 gold coins left from summoning angels earlier, the total is 805 gold coins. With this amount of gold coins, I can summon one four-winged angel and 12 two-winged angels. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately communicated with the myriad worlds floating island and opened the black hole for summoning angels. This time, there was no strange feeling during the summoning. The black hole remained the same. Unlike when he summoned during the day, the black hole gave him the feeling of being watched by a living being hidden behind it, like an eye. Perhaps it's just my imagination, Lin Yu thought. Under his gaze, beautiful figures quickly flew out of the black hole. Leading them was a beautiful angel with four wings. Even without looking at the information, Lin Yu knew that she was a war-level angel under the 12-winged throne angel, skilled in charging into battle. Because she wore silver armor and held an angelic sword burning with golden flames. This was the standard equipment for war-level angels. If it were a four-winged grand angel like Elena, who excelled in divine magic, she would be wearing a magic gown and holding a staff resembling white jade. One belonged to the throne angel faction, a war-level angel. The other belonged to the wisdom angel faction, a divine magic level angel. Their equipment and abilities were completely different. As for the commander-level angels under the seraphim, Lin Yu had not summoned them yet due to insufficient authority. According to four-winged Grand Angel Elena, the lowest level for a commanding angel was the six-winged level. Lin Yu could only summon six-winged angels after upgrading his territory to a high-level village. Greetings, Great Lord of Holy Light. May the Holy Light be with you, and may the Lord be eternal. After descending, the new four-winged angel immediately came before Lin Yu and respectfully saluted him. Behind her were 12 fully armed two-winged angels. They also belonged to the 12-winged throne angel faction. Among the angel race, war-level angels skilled in charging into battle were the most numerous. Next were the divine magic-level angels, followed by the commander-level angels. Lastly, there were the special angels that differed from the orthodox factions. Special angels were not only rare but also had a minimum of 6 wings. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yu named the newly summoned four-winged angel, Maddie. As for the 12 two-winged angels behind her, he decided against it. The inventory of names was insufficient and should be saved for higher-ranking angels that might come later. 10%. Chapter 58 The Fourth Full-Scale Angel Combat Team. Magic Ball. Praise the Lord of Holy Light. Four-winged angel Maddie immediately bowed to Lin Yu in excitement. The 12 two-winged angels following behind her, who had not yet been given names, showed a hint of regret in their expressions. However, they quickly regained their spirits. Not being given names did not mean that the Great Lord of Holy Light did not value them, it was simply because their strength was too weak and their status too low. They believed that as long as they worked hard to improve themselves, they could break free from the constraints of their status and achieve the evolution of their bloodline. When they grew into high-ranking angels, they would surely receive the Lord's bestowed names. Because the Lord of Holy Light is fair, just, and selfless in his love. He watches over every one of his followers. Outside the Hall of the Overlord, Lin Yu separated 38 two-winged angels from Ayata and Sally's angel team and handed them over to four-winged angel Maddie. Thus, the fourth fully equipped angel combat team appeared. As for why Ayata and Sally's team had to be divided, it was simply because under the command of high-ranking angels, the fighting power of the angels would be stronger. Lin Yu said to four-winged angel Maddie, "These 52 winged angels will be your team members in the future. As the leader, your task is not only to help them grow, but also to protect their safety." "I will obey your divine oracle, Great Lord." Four-winged angel Maddie respectfully said, "My lord, rest assured, angels will never abandon their kin. I will also do my best to improve the overall strength of our team and not disappoint you." Very well. Lin Yu nodded in approval. Go. Venture into the wilderness and purify the evil creatures hidden in the darkness. Yes, my lord. Four-winged angel Maddie respectfully took her leave. Then, she left the territory with her team of two-winged angels. Next, only Ayada and Lily's angel team remained in the territory, and their numbers had decreased by 2/3. After giving 38 two-winged angels to four-winged angel Maddie, Ayada and Sally's small team only had 17 two-winged angels left. Including Ayada and Sally, there were only 19 angels. According to the summoning ratio given by Myriad World's floating island, for every 52 winged angels, one four-winged angel could be summoned to form a standard-sized angel combat team. In other words, even if Lin Yu still had 200 gold coins, he could not summon another four-winged angel. He could only continue summoning after gathering 52 winged angels. Of course, this was not difficult for Lin Yu now. Once a large number of equipment was put up for sale, gold coins would surely come rolling in. In the future, Lin Yu's recruitment of angels might not be summoning one or two, but summoning entire teams. The snowball of the territory had already started rolling. The progress is quite good. You have already reached the late stage of level 7. If nothing unexpected happens, you will soon be able to advance to level 8. Lin Yu looked at Ayada and Sally, who were standing quietly on the side, and a smile appeared on his face. Ayada, tall and sexy. Sally, petite and lovely like an elf. Lin Yu had a special affection for these two-winged angels who were summoned first, different from other angels. He really wanted to see them go further. If they could advance to 12-winged throne angels, commanding an army of angels alone, that would be even better. Ayada and Sally quickly said, everything comes from the Lord's favor. Lin Yu nodded slightly and said, although the size of your team has been greatly reduced, it does not have a significant impact on your hunting and level advancement. I hope you can double your efforts. It's not just about leveling up, but also about breaking through your status. When you advance to four-winged angels, I will personally form a fully equipped angel combat team for you to lead alone. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. We will do our best to break through ourselves and achieve the evolution of our bloodline. Ayada and Sally's eyes were firm. They secretly vowed to break free from the constraints of their status and advance to four-winged angels, not to disappoint their overlord who watches over them. Lin Yu looked again at Ayada and Sally behind him. Standing there were 17 beautiful two-winged angels, all familiar figures. Vina, Josie, Helen, Ada, Phyllis, as well as Ray, Harlan, and others were among them. Lin Yu also had great expectations for these named two-winged angels. Vina, Josie, and the others. You are just like Ayada and Sally. Lin Yu said to these two-winged angels, I also hope to see the day when you break free from your constraints, not just as four-winged angels. 6-winged angels, 12-winged angels. That's what I expect from all of you. In the days to come, each of you must strive to improve yourselves and become stronger. I hope that one day in the future, each and every one of you present here can become a legion commander, leading your own angel legion. Praise the Lord. The group of beautiful angels immediately became excited. In their eyes, there was not only a strong fighting spirit, but also infinite anticipation for the future. As the lowest level two-winged angels in the angel clan, they also long to achieve bloodline evolution and become higher-ranking angels. Now, with the Lord's favor, they believed that as long as they worked hard, they would surely succeed. Not long after, Ayada, Sally, and the others also left the territory. Compared to other angels, they had a stronger desire for promotion. They were also full of passion and motivation for the future. As for Lin Yu, he turned and returned to the Hall of the Overlord. On the floor of the Hall of the Overlord, there were still some equipment and blueprints, as well as the harvest of several hunting teams during the day. Lin Yu checked the information of these equipment and blueprints one by one. A total of 6 pieces of equipment. Among them, 5 were ordinary equipment, with the lowest level being level 4 and the highest level being level 6. The remaining piece of equipment was a supreme-grade equipment with special effects. It looked like a glass ball, the size of a palm. But it was neither a defensive nor an offensive equipment. It was an auxiliary equipment that stood out. Magic orb. Type: auxiliary equipment. Level: 6. Durability: 100. Special effect: increases damage of elemental magic by 30%, but only for low-level magic and middle-level magic. Introduction: for elementalists who master elemental magic, the value of this equipment is higher than any equipment of the same level. It not only enhances the combat power of elementalists, but also stores elemental magic power to provide replenishment when needed. An undoubtedly supreme grade equipment. Magic replenishment, amplification of magic damage. In the early stages, it can even be said to be a divine weapon for elementalists. Even I want it. Lin Yu looked at the magic orb in his hand and said with some regret, unfortunately, I am an overlord class, and the elemental magic I uniquely possess is high-level magic, exceeding the amplification limit of the magic orb. This auxiliary equipment was not very useful to him. For now, let's put it away. Tomorrow, I'll take it to the trading platform along with the equipment crafted by the blacksmith. Then, Lin Yu turned his gaze to the remaining two blueprints. One was the wooden house blueprint and the other was the fence blueprint. Both were ordinary building blueprints. There were no surprises or disappointments. After all, the drop rate of rare blueprints was pitifully low. The wooden house blueprint can be used later. As for the fence blueprint, Lin Yu had previously sought it but couldn't find it. Now, he didn't need it anymore. Without hesitation, Lin Yu directly put the fence blueprint on the trading platform. It's good if I can exchange it for a few hundred or even 1,000 gold coins. With that, all the spoils of war were sorted out. Outside the territory, the dark world was already filled with the roars of monsters, the dazzling sword lights cutting through the night sky, and the holy light dispelling the darkness. The trumpet of war had already been sounded. 10%. Chapter 59. Believe in the Lord, the fire of faith is eternal. Kill. Swish swish swish. 3 dazzling sword lights burst out from the long sword of four-winged angel Myralda, instantly killing a level 7 elite skeleton. This is the skill of four-winged angel, Radiant Triple Slash. Although both are level 7, the strength of four-winged angel Myralda far surpasses that of the skeleton elite. The 3 sword lights overlap and the damage increases exponentially. The skeleton elite couldn't resist at all, and its decaying greatsword was shattered along with it, unable to even resurrect. The angel's attacks are imbued with the power of holiness and light. This is the nemesis of all evil creatures. As an undead skeleton elite, it is also an evil creature. While being killed by four-winged angel Myralda, the soul fire enclosed in its skull was directly purified by the power of holiness and light. Without the soul fire, resurrection is impossible. A group of creatures born in the land of death dare to seek eternal life. Ignorant, four-winged angel Myralda said coldly. Facing the undead creatures surging like a tide around her, there was no trace of fear in her expression. Only to see her swing the angelic sword in her hand. Diagonal moon slash. In an instant, more than a dozen undead creatures were slashed into bone fragments. Then, she flapped the 2 pairs of angel wings on her back, turning into a white light and rushing straight into the densest area of undead creatures, reaping the surrounding undead like a radiant god. In this world, only those who believe in the great Lord of Holy Light can obtain eternal life. However, you are not worthy of being the Lord's followers. Swish swish swish. Dense sword lights burst out. Instantly, within a radius of tens of meters centered on four-winged angel Myralda, all the undead creatures disintegrated and turned into countless pale bone fragments falling to the ground. Compared to the same level 2-winged angel. As a four-winged angel, Myralda's combat power is simply explosive. Without exaggeration, 2 or 3 2-winged angels of the same level combined are not Myralda's match. This is the high-rank archangel. Among angels of the same level, the higher the rank, the stronger the power. This is also the fundamental reason why the hierarchy determines the status of angels in the angelic race. On the other side, there is also dazzling light shining on the battlefield. That is the holy light from the angels. Under the cover of the holy light, nearby undead creatures immediately fell in groups. In the center of the holy light is the graceful figure of four-winged Grand Angel Elena. She spread her 4 snow-white angel wings, raised her white jade-like staff high, and stood in the air above the battlefield, like a goddess from the divine realm in the mortal world. The Lord says, "Let the holy radiance shine upon the world." Evil and dark creatures cannot withstand the light. With four-winged Grand Angel Elena's whisper, even more dazzling holy light emerged from the top of her staff, rushing towards the surroundings like a tsunami. In an instant, all the darkness within 100 meters was dispelled by the holy light. And the undead creatures present in this area were killed one after another. Even the broken bones scattered on the battlefield were ignited by the dazzling holy light and quickly turned into ashes. This is the divine art of holy light. It does not harm creatures of the good camp. It is even more beneficial to creatures that possess the power of light magic. But when the target is undead creatures like these evil beings, the divine art of holy light immediately becomes a terrifying offensive divine art. Its destructive power is much stronger than high-level elemental magic. Believe in the Lord, the flame of faith is eternal. Only to hear four-winged grand angel Elena recite a divine language, and then wave her staff, countless golden lights appeared out of thin air, falling on the battlefield like a shower of light. A large number of angels and goblins were enveloped by the light rain. The former's magical power quickly recovered. The latter's morale doubled, and their fighting spirit soared. On the contrary, the undead creatures covered by the light rain emitted black smoke one by one, and countless corrosive holes appeared on their bodies as if they were corroded by sulfuric acid. After a round of light rain, a large number of undead fell. Meanwhile, other angels were also crazily harvesting the undead creatures on the battlefield. Some were using combat techniques to kill. Some were using holy flames to burn. In short, a large number of undead creatures were dying in the hands of angels every moment. Of course, it wasn't just the angels harvesting the undead. The goblins on the battlefield were also bravely killing enemies. They didn't have holy light to purify evil. They didn't have the holy flames of angels to burn the undead to ashes. But they were brave, fearless, and steadfast in their faith. All the goblins faithfully carried out Lin Yu's orders, following the footsteps of the angels on the battlefield, cooperating in groups of 3 or 5, and fighting desperately against the nearby undead. If this scene were seen by other native intelligent races, they would surely widen their eyes and find it unbelievable. Because goblins were known for being timid and cowardly. They were inclined to bully the weak and fear the strong. Whenever they encountered a slightly stronger enemy, goblins would choose to flee first. But the goblins on the battlefield were even braver and more insane than the undead creatures who were not afraid of death. They were like fanatical believers who were not afraid to die. Once undead creatures appeared nearby, they would rush forward with howls. Fortunately, there were angels everywhere on the battlefield, providing some assistance to the nearby goblins. Otherwise, some brave goblins would have been killed by the undead creatures. This war, it lasted from dusk until late at night. The two goblin teams were the first to be unable to hold on and were forced to retreat to their territory. The angels also began to rotate and replace each other. Because their divine and luminous magic power was consumed too much. It was unknown where those undead creatures in the darkness came from. They were as numerous as hairs on an ox, and no matter how many were killed, there would always be another group of undead creatures surrounding them. And the number was even greater. It made people's scalp tingle. No wonder someone said that during the day, the floating island belonged to the wild monsters and the native intelligent creatures, while during the night, it was ruled by demons and undead. Lin Yu didn't know what demons were. He had never seen them. But he truly experienced the horror of undead creatures. Enemies that couldn't be killed even when exhausted would still make people feel terrified, even if they could obtain a massive amount of origin power and various spoils. They were afraid of accidents. That would be troublesome. I've reached late stage of level 4. In his territory, Lin Yu yawned. It was now past 11 o'clock at night. In other words, this war had lasted for more than 5 hours. Although it was impossible to count the exact number of undead creatures killed, there were definitely more than 10,000. Killing so many undead creatures naturally brought a huge amount of origin power. Lin Yu's level smoothly advanced from mid-stage of level 4 to late stage of level 4. If he kept killing until dawn, it was possible for him to directly advance to level 5. Just at this moment, in the distance on the battlefield, 2 dazzling golden lights suddenly appeared. Looking up, Lin Yu saw that each of the 2 golden lights enveloped a beautiful angel figure. It was Ayata and Sally. The holy radiance suddenly surged. The aura also instantly became several times stronger. They have advanced. A very bright smile appeared on Lin Yu's face. Ayata and Sally both advanced to level 8, which made him even happier than his own level advancement. Because this meant, he was one step closer to getting rid of the Skeleton King Ryan egg. Tomorrow, we will go and wipe out the Grey Dwarf tribe. After that, we can plan to defeat the Skeleton King Ryan and capture the 2-headed demon tribe. Once these few things are accomplished, the area within a dozen kilometers will be completely under my rule. 10%. Chapter 60 Killing Everyone. That Easter egg, it's here again. For an overlord profession. The larger the area of rule, the stronger the power of the territory naturally. Lin Yu's ultimate goal in the rank 1 stage is to kill the 4 superpowers guarding this jungle, namely the Giant Kingdom, the Bone Temple, the Naga Kingdom, and the Elf Garden. and then rule this vast and resource-rich jungle. However, on this path, Lin Yu's enemies are not only these local forces and wild monsters, but also other overlord professionals. They also wage war in order to compete for regional resources. Life and death, territory destruction. It is not surprising at all. After all, the main theme of Myriad World's floating island is war. Overlord professionals who cannot adapt to war and killing will be eliminated. Relatively speaking, combat professionals are better off. They are like lone adventurers, bounty hunters. They don't need to fight for territory or plunder resources. Their task is simply to hunt the wild monsters on the island. And in general, overlord professionals do not sound the horn of war against those combat professionals. Because there is no direct conflict of interest between combat professionals and overlord professionals. In fact, overlord professionals are the strong backing of combat professionals, and the vast majority of combat professionals aim to join a certain overlord professional and then obtain a ticket to enter the Myriad World's battlefield. So for combat professionals, overlords are more likely to recruit. There should be other overlord professionals in this jungle. But we don't know where their territories are yet. If he is lucky enough to encounter them, Lin Yu thinks he should use more aggressive means to drive those overlord professionals out of this area or eliminate them directly. After all, the resources of a region are limited. Sharing among a group of overlord professionals is completely different from exclusive possession by one overlord professional. I have to admit, Lin Yu is someone who likes to eat alone. Just like in the issue of selling equipment, he also likes to eat alone. He even hopes that the development speed of those overlord professionals on the island will be slower, so that he can harvest a large sum of gold coins through the blacksmith shop. Without thinking any further, Lin Yu once again turned his gaze to the battlefield outside the territory. Ayata and Sally both reached level 8. Their strength has also become stronger. No less than Myralda, Maureen, and others who are four-winged angels. Even though their ranks are lower, it is normal for their strength to catch up since they are only one level behind. In addition to the tremendous increase in strength, after leveling up, the magic power in Ayata and Sally's bodies instantly reached its peak, reaching the most powerful state in battle. They flapped their snow-white angel wings behind them and directly rushed into the area with the densest undead creatures. The angel swords in their hands emitted blazing golden flames. Each swing could produce a dazzling sword light and a golden sea of fire. Within the sword light, there is pure holy and light power. And the golden flames are the sacred flames unique to the angel race, condensed by the power of faith. Both of these powers can cause terrifying damage to undead creatures. Even if some undead creatures manage to survive under the sweep of the sword light, their undead bodies will quickly be burned to ashes by the golden flames. In just a moment, hundreds of undead creatures died in the hands of Ayata and Sally. At a glance, there were scattered white bones everywhere around them. Some bones were still burning. In addition to countless remains on the ground, there were also many shiny gold coins. Killing monsters yields gold coins. This is the rule of the floating island world. Even if the undead creatures are poor, they will still drop gold coins when it's time. Not only gold coins, but also equipment, blueprints, crop seeds, and so on, all have a chance to drop. In the floating island, the power of the highest rules is everywhere. Just as Ayata and Sally were killing in all directions, dozens of figures stood in the sky above the jungle, several kilometers away from the battlefield. From their appearance, it can be seen that all of these figures are undead creatures. There are skeleton knights, skeleton mages, skeleton hunters. And each and every one of them is an elite of high rank. Leading the group is a giant undead skeleton that stands nearly 5 meters tall. If Lin Yu were here, he would surely recognize that this giant undead skeleton is none other than the Skeleton King, Lane, that he has been wanting to defeat. After a day's absence, Lane has returned. But unlike last night, tonight it did not approach Lin Yu's territory. Instead, it stayed with its group of high-level undead creatures several kilometers away from the battlefield, avoiding detection by the angels on the battlefield. King. The strength of this territory has greatly increased. Beside the Skeleton King Lane, an undead wearing a gray robe said. The robe was tattered and riddled with many holes, as if it had been chewed on by rats. But upon closer inspection, one could still see that it used to be a magical robe belonging to an elemental mage. And this undead before them has indeed inherited its abilities from its previous life and has become a skeleton mage, possessing the magic to resurrect undead. However, this magic is limited to resurrecting only undead of the skeleton race. For other types of undead, such as ghouls, ghosts, and zombies, its resurrection magic is useless. Skeleton undead do not have vocal cords. They cannot speak. But they can communicate with other undead creatures through the vibration of their soul fire and their mental power. This is why the undead race is considered an intelligent race. They have intelligence, and high-level undead creatures are no less intelligent than humans. It's not just an increase in strength. Next to them, a skeleton knight responded with a vibration of mental power. Compared to last night, the strength of this territory has increased by at least 5 times. The mount beneath it is a massive skeletal bear. It used to belong to the Earth Demon Bear clan, also of high rank. Unbelievable. Just on the 3rd day, an overlord from another world has grown to this extent. Give him 3 more days, and won't he conquer even the 2-headed demon tribe? The high-level undead all spoke up. Although they are undead creatures, once they mature and gain intelligence, they develop various emotions, such as fear, surprise, excitement, and so on. And now, they are in a state of shock. They are astonished by the speed of Lin Yu's territory's development. King. The skeleton mage looked at the skeleton king Lane and said, "Why don't you withdraw the undead army from the battlefield? If we continue to kill like this, the strength of this territory will only become stronger." It's useless. The skeleton king Lane shook his head. Among the group of undead creatures, its terrifying body, nearly 5 meters tall, is like that of a giant. But then again, in its previous life, it did come from the giant race. The skeleton king Lane said, "Once night falls, these low-intelligence undead no longer obey my commands, especially when they encounter enemies, because at this time, they are controlled by the supreme rules." King, what should we do then? We can't let this territory continue to develop, otherwise even we. The skeleton mage is worried about the safety of their burial ground. What are you afraid of? The undead knight riding the skeletal bear said, "Our king's territory is in the underground world, there's no need to worry about being attacked by this overlord from another world." But the skeleton mage shook his head and said, "We are too close. Once he finds the entrance to the underground world, it won't be difficult to trace it back to our king's territory. Then let's take the initiative and attack this territory with a large army." You fool. This territory is only a middle-level village, it hasn't reached the level of a town. The skeleton mage is very dissatisfied and smacks the skeletal bear's buttocks with the bone staff in his hand, saying, "Under the supreme rules, who dares to overstep? Local forces are not allowed to attack overlord territories below the level of a town. This is the rule of the floating island." The skeleton knight angrily says, "Then what should we do? This won't work, that won't work, let's just move." The skeleton mage. The skeleton king Lane. The skeleton mage. The skeleton king Lane. The skeleton mage.